Hello everyone, I'm very glad that you listened to my story. Please give me a follow and like the video if you enjoyed it. Feel free to comment and provide feedback so I can improve the sound quality. Yes, I will now continue the unfinished story. Chapter 57. 2,290 soldiers. Entering the time ruins again. Jojo's eyes were filled with surprise. Generally speaking, the loyalty of the subjects was an attribute that could only be slowly increased by a lord who was slowly managing the territory well. When the loyalty of the subjects were high, the territory would be peaceful, and the crime rate of the subjects would also greatly decrease. Moreover, subjects who listened to the orders of the lord could also play a role in assisting the development of the territory. It could even greatly increase the probability of triggering missions or even hidden missions. Once the loyalty of the subjects was low, then all kinds of bad things might happen. The disobedience of their subjects alone could cause many industries in the territory to stagnate. The soldiers would not listen to the Lord's orders to attack the monsters around the territory. It was a serious matter. The subjects might rebel and choose to overthrow or even murder the lords. Jojo had heard of such things while diving in the World Channel. Some of the lords became lustful towards the women in his territory and wanted to force themselves on these women. In the end, this matter spread. The loyalty of the subjects who heard about this greatly decreased. The next day, this lord's friend realized that the name in his friend list had already dimmed. Given no food crisis, the lords would basically not die with the protection of the novice lord's barrier. If they died, it was because of only one possibility: the lord was killed by his or her subjects in the territory. This was the consequence of a decrease in loyalty. However, this peace and prosperity lord talent could actually quickly increase his subjects' loyalty. Moreover, it could be increased to 90 points at most. 90 loyalty points was already quite high. This loyalty was already equivalent to a pseudo-dead loyal subject. Such a subject would basically not betray the lord unless he encountered an extraordinary matter. Comparatively, the slightly higher probability of foreign life forms coming to seek refuge was less eye-catching. However, Jojo considered the matter. I now have nearly 2,000 subjects in my territory and most of their loyalty is between 70 and 80 points. That means I should be able to make my territory a livable territory in the eyes of outsiders in no more than 40 days. Jojo thought. It was a little more than a month, which was neither long nor short. He was not in a hurry and could afford to wait. After that, Jojo stood up and prepared to recruit the elemental archers and the 13 elven elemental archers. The soldiers and subjects in Blazing Sun City suddenly felt that Blazing Sun City had a bright future, just as Jojo had just obtained the Diamond Tier Lord talent. Even though Blazing Sun City was only newly built and looked relatively simple, at that point their eyes were filled with expectations for the future. Our Blazing Sun City has so many soldiers, and the number of soldiers is increasing at a visible speed every day. I feel at ease living here with these soldiers around. His lordship is also very good to us. He gives out high-level ingredients like monster meat for free and lets us eat our fill every day. I've never been so extravagant in the Aurora Kingdom. Of course. His lordship is the best lord on the high continent. Even though this place is still very simple and is a desert territory, it will definitely be the richest and most famous territory in the entire high continent in the future. Even a dragon is willing to be the pet of our lord. What's impossible? I even saw wood elves today. They are the subjects of the Elven Empire, but even they are respectful to the lord. The wood elves are so beautiful. I can definitely marry a wood elf in the future. The subjects discussed animatedly, their faces were filled with smiles. Jojo walked out of the lord's courtyard when he saw this scene. He froze for a bit before he reacted. That was the effect of peace and prosperity. Jojo looked at their smiles and felt a smile appear on his own face. Perhaps the effects of this Diamond Tier Lord talent could not be seen in the short term, but it would definitely have a profound impact on the subjects and territory in the long run. Jojo came to the gate of summoning and threw the 394 elemental archer recruitment books into it. Soon, the first elemental archer walked out. He was wearing fiery red armor, carrying a fiery red bow and arrow on his back, and a fiery red short sword hanging from his waist. Invisible fire elemental energy circled and gathered around him. Ordinary people would feel a faint heat and an inexplicable might just by approaching him. Jojo opened his personal information. Subject, Zhao Lan. Soldier type, elemental archer, fire. Ability overview, accidentally obtained an elemental archer class change certificate when he was out hunting with his elders when he was young. He therefore changed his profession to an elemental archer. When he grew up, he underwent specialized soldier quality training. He also experienced 23 small-scale battles and had rich experience as an elemental archer. Skills: Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade Flame Meditation Technique, Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade Fire Elemental Control, Black Iron Tier Elemental Archery, Fire, Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade Charged Shot, Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade Triple Shot, Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade Flame Arrow, Black Iron Tier Intermediate Grade Double Flame Arrow, yet to master. Loyalty, 71. He remembered that when Bai Yi was promoted to a Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade Beginner Poison Crossbow Soldier. She only had 5 professional skills in her skill bar. At that time, Jojo was already very surprised. Zhao Lan, this high-level elemental archer, already had a total of 7 professional skills even though he was only at the Black Iron Tier Elementary grade. He would definitely master more professional skills when he advanced to Black Iron Tier Advanced grade. This is what it means to be a high-level soldier. Elemental archers walked out of the gate of summoning one after another. 394 elemental archers walked out and stood in front of Jojo. Jojo looked at their fire elemental armors and could not help but fall into deep thought. Why are all the elemental archers I recruited of fire element? Is it because the elemental archer recruitment books came from the fire demon Fog Wolf? He gave it some thought. This seemed to be the only reason. Jojo was not disappointed though. Fire elemental archers were not bad either. They were definitely lethal, if anything. After that, Jojo recruited 13 elven elemental archers. The 13 elven elemental archers said respectfully. Jojo acknowledged and studied them. He realized that these 13 elemental archers were dressed roughly the same way as the wood elves he had seen in the Time Ruins. They were all wearing emerald green military equipment. Bows or short swords at their waists, etc. were all emerald green. The outfit looked lively. The surrounding subjects and soldiers immediately exclaimed when they emerged. Jojo ignored them. Instead, he began to check their personal information. Soon, Jojo knew that they comprised 1 green bronze tier intermediate grade elemental archer and 12 green bronze tier elemental archers. They were of the same strength level as Nadia and the others. Moreover, their potential was at least at the yellow gold tier elementary grade. The one with the highest potential was diamond tier intermediate grade, which was from the green bronze tier intermediate grade elf. Jojo opened the interface information of the strongest elf. Subject, Monica. Soldier type, elemental archer, wood. Strength level, green bronze tier intermediate grade. Ability overview, a centurion of the 12th Elemental Legion of the Elven Empire. She has 5 years of combat experience and has mastered a rich array of elemental archer combat skills. She can skillfully maximize her advantage on the battlefield. Bloodline, Wood Elf Bloodline. Skills, Extraordinary Tier Intermediate Grade Tree of Life Meditation Technique, Green Bronze Tier Intermediate Grade Wood Elemental Control, Green Bronze Tier Intermediate Grade Elemental Archery, Wood, Green Bronze Tier Intermediate Grade Charged Shot, Green Bronze Tier Intermediate Grade 5 Consecutive Shots, Green Bronze Tier Intermediate Grade Poison Blood Arrow, Green Bronze Tier Intermediate Grade Silent Arrow Skill, Green Bronze Tier Intermediate Grade Woodvine Strangle Arrow. Green Bronze Tier Intermediate Grade Agility Technique, Green Bronze Tier Intermediate Grade Invisibility Technique. Potential, Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade. He read about her potential as well as the unique bloodline column. Jojo was silent. The elves had much higher potential than the humans indeed. However, Jojo was not discouraged. He had a 100% drop rate. Jojo was confident that he could build a human army that surpassed the living beings of all races in the world. I have more than 2,000 soldiers now. To be precise, 2,290 people. Jojo suddenly realized that his army force had crossed another huge milestone. A moment later, Jojo distributed the 200 Fire Demon Fog Wolf sets he had obtained from the Time Ruins to the 97 soldiers who followed him to the Time Ruins. The rest were temporarily saved as military merit rewards in the future. An hour later, Jojo brought Nazario and the soldiers into the Time Ruins again. Chapter 58. Trading Equipment. Jojo's Anticipation. In the Time Ruins. When Jojo entered, he realized that they began at the same starting position. However, he had asked Nazario to pay attention to the situation before they entered this time so the embarrassing incident previously would not happen again. They did not waste any time and ran straight to where Nadia and the others were. On the back of Nazario the dragon. As he had expected. This time, there were only 2 missions. The third hidden mission did not appear. The Fire Demon Fog Wolf Lord probably wouldn't appear this time. Jojo felt that it was a pity. It would be awesome if he could farm the Fire Demon Fog Wolf Lord once a day. He just did not know what would happen when 2 identical Lord talents collided. What happened next was exactly the same as last time. They saved the 13 elves and began to clean up the surrounding Fire Demon Fog Wolves. Nadia cried again because she had left Indra town and could not protect the residents. Eve comforted her. Nadia. He suddenly called out. Lord of the Blazing Sun, what's the matter? Nadia wiped her tears and looked at Jojo in a daze. Eve was also stunned. You've done a good job. Don't blame yourself too much. Jojo said. But I couldn't save any of the residents of Indra. Nadia's eyes filled with tears. Jojo looked at her and suddenly walked forward. He reached out and gently wiped her tears. The scene of the real Nadia's tears turning into flames when she was promoted to a hero appeared in his mind. Don't cry anymore. I've already saved everyone here for you. Jojo said. Nadia looked at Jojo in a daze. Then, her small face suddenly turned red, and steam emitted from her head. A series of light laughter and teasing sounds came from behind her. The heat above Nadia's head increased. Jojo quickly retracted his hand. He smiled and did not explain further. Then he did his old job retrieving the loot. During this period, Nazario went to the location of the Fire Demon Fog Wolf Lord. However, it returned in disappointment in the end. After Jojo found out that this Lord tier monster had really disappeared, he only sighed that he had not taken advantage of it. He then continued to retrieve the loot. In addition, Bai Yi had finally broken through to the Green Bronze tier intermediate grade during the battle. Other than Bai Yi, Zhang Kang, and the other 5 Green Bronze tier elementary grade soldiers were also close to breaking through. They would probably be able to successfully break through after clearing the monsters in the Monster Ranch tomorrow morning. He obtained a total of 4,926 Black Iron tier Mist Cores and 20 Green Bronze tier Mist Cores. 35 sets of Black Iron tier Intermediate Grade Fire Demon Fog Wolf set. 43 sets of Black Iron tier Advanced Grade Flame Demon Fog Wolf set. 110 duplicate sets. 384 Elemental Archer recruitment books. Jojo was very satisfied with them. The Time Ruins would automatically reset every time they entered it. These gains would become a fixed daily income in the future. If an ordinary lord owned this Time Ruins, he would not have obtained so much daily gains. However, Jojo had a 100% drop rate. The gains from entering once were almost equivalent to the gains from the other lords entering the time ruins 100 times. It's a pity that I can't bring the fire demon fog wolves out. Otherwise, I can use the monster ranch to protect them. Jojo thought regretfully. After that, he bade farewell to the elves and left the time ruins with all the loot. After Jojo came out, he went to the Gate of Summoning and used the 384 Elemental Archer recruitment books to summon 384 Elemental Archers at the Black Iron Tier Elementary grade. Then, he summoned 13 Elemental Archers from the elves. He now had a total of 2,687 soldiers under his command. I should be able to have a total of 3,000 soldiers after we clean up the monster ranches tomorrow. At that time, it shouldn't be a big problem to face the Sandman Lord and his 1,000-odd monster subjects. Jojo thought to himself. He then gave it some thought and changed his previous intentions. He distributed all the 301 sets of equipment that he had originally planned to use as military merit rewards to his soldiers. It was lent out to the soldiers in name, but the military merits needed for this Fire Demon Fog Wolf set would be deducted from the military merits obtained by the soldiers in the future. Jojo's actual idea was to use these sets of Fire Demon Fog Wolf equipment to minimize the casualties that might occur when attacking the Sandman Lord tomorrow. They were facing the faction of a regional Scarlet Lord, so it was not the time to be stingy. Jojo's decision quickly caused the soldiers to cheer. Higher level equipment meant stronger combat strength and life-saving ability. The soldiers were naturally very happy. Jojo quickly saw a large number of notifications that his subjects' loyalty had increased. Maybe I don't need 40 days before my territory becomes famous for its peace and prosperity. Jojo thought to himself when he saw this scene. Then, Jojo, who had obtained 400 sets of Black Iron Tier elementary grade military equipment, opened the marketplace and set up a transaction. Trade name, deal with the Blazing Sun Lord. Trade goods, 400 sets of second-hand Black Iron Tier elementary grade military equipment, no weapons. Trade requirement, each second-hand Black Iron Tier elementary grade equipment, no weapons, for 300 units of basic materials. Each lord can trade up to 5 sets. Remarks, you can privately message me for a private transaction if you have a special treasure. Current trading view ranking, 3,715,215,45 th. Jojo took a look and confirmed that there was no problem. Then, he chose to announce the deal. The lord soon discovered this deal. Then, the ranking of this deal that had just been announced began to increase at an unbelievable speed. Soon, it occupied the first place in the transaction viewership. The World Channel was also discussing the new deal with the Lord of the Blazing Sun with gusto. The Lord of the Blazing Sun has issued a new deal. This is the first time I've seen a lord sell so much equipment. Familiar formula, familiar taste, familiar high prices. How else would the Lord of the Blazing Sun deserve his profiteering reputation? 300 units of basic materials in exchange for a set of military equipment without weapons. Actually, it's not bad. I'm envious. I only have 20 soldiers while he is already selling 400 second-hand equipment. The difference is so great that it's terrifying to think about it. I feel that Big Boss Blazing Sun has already grown beyond the current version of the game. At Supreme Will, can you lower the settings? How else can we play it? The Supreme Will expresses that you should not blame the version of a game if you are a noob. This transaction has just been announced. Is there a possibility that Big Boss Blazing Sun is reading our chat? I'm suddenly a little nervous. Big Boss Blazing Sun, I'm sorry for hiding it from you for so long. Actually, I'm not human. I'm a type of seashell by the sea. I am your darling one. Previous poster, I'm actually not a human either. I'm a kind of eagle, called Diet 2, dog head. Show me the diet. Sunder a face. Have a good chat while I secretly buy Big Boss Blazing Sun's equipment. Jojo, who was diving. Why is this batch of lords so stupid? All the second-hand equipment was sold. He obtained a total of 120,000 units of basic materials. Among them were 36,000 units of wood, 42,000 units of stone, 18,000 units of metal, and 24,000 units of fine sand. After Jojo put them away, he walked out of the Lord's courtyard and asked someone to call Bai Yi over. Jojo and Bai Yi sat opposite each other. "This is for you." Jojo flipped his right hand, and the Hero Inheritance Secret Manual appeared in his hand. He placed it in front of Bai Yi. Bai Yi picked it up curiously and was immediately stunned. This. She stuttered as she looked at Jojo. Shock, disbelief, surprise, trance. All kinds of expressions appeared on her face. It was no wonder that she was so shocked. The word hero was really too legendary. This form of address often appeared in the legends told by the elderly to the children. It could be said that most of the living beings in the High Continent had grown up listening to the legends of heroes. It was the same for Bai Yi. The greatest dream of every child in the High Continent was to become the hero of their race and famous in the High Continent. However, it was too difficult to become a hero. Even the huge Aurora Kingdom only had 3 heroes after hundreds of years of development. That was how difficult it was to become a hero. And now, a chance to become a hero actually appeared in front of her. She was so surprised that she was even a little terrified. Bai Yi felt that this was not something she deserved. She hesitated and was about to say something when she saw her lord opposite her looking hard at her. "Our territory will face a huge crisis in 2 days. My territory needs a hero now. I think you can do it. Take it. Be a hero," Jojo said seriously. Bai Yi was stunned. She looked at Jojo's confident gaze and the hesitation in her heart gradually turned into determination. She suddenly understood. She was indeed the most suitable person to use it at the moment. She was undoubtedly the strongest in the current territory, other than the Lord's pet, after all. The newly recruited elves were strong, but they had only followed the Lord for a short period of time and had not obtained the Lord's trust. It was not the time to be pretentious and terrified. As the strongest soldier under the Lord, I have to bear the responsibility of protecting the Lord and the territory before the crisis arrives. Bai Yi became even more determined after she thought it through. "I won't let you down, my lord." Bai Yi stood up and said firmly. Jojo acknowledged. Then, he let Bai Yi return to her residence to use it. It would take quite some time to accept the inheritance of a hero. While it was fine for her to use it in his house, it was still more or less inconvenient for men and women. "I won't have to wait too long for my very first hero." Jojo was filled with anticipation. Chapter 59. The 6th day starts. Summoning the subjects. Spiritual Medicine Lord, Big Brother Blazing Sun, good night. Jojo was thinking about what else he had to do today when Linger sent him a message. "Lord of the Blazing Sun, good night." Jojo replied. Then, he looked at the dialogue box and thought for a long time before sending 2 more messages. "Lord of the Blazing Sun, you don't have to call me Big Brother Blazing Sun in the future. Lord of the Blazing Sun, if you're willing, just acknowledge me as your big brother and call me that. I'll also treat you as though you are my biological little sister." Jojo did not know if it was because of his bad luck, but he had lived 2 lives, yet he never had any relatives. He could almost see all the life forms of the High Continent in a mere few days from his sudden arrival in the High Continent. He still felt a little lonely sometimes, even though he was used to living alone. After this period of getting to know one another, Jojo felt that the other party was someone whom he could deepen his relationship with, even if he put her legendary tier lord talent aside. That was why he suggested recognizing her as his little sister. Linger saw the message immediately, but she was in disbelief. So she only replied a moment later. "Spiritual Medicine Lord, Big Brother." Lord of the blazing sun, yes, little sister. Spiritual medicine Lord, big brother, can linger chat with you in the future. Lord of the blazing sun, sure. Spiritual medicine Lord, big brother, can linger share some things in the territory with you in the future. Lord of the blazing sun, yes. Spiritual medicine Lord, it feels like a dream. Thank you, big brother. Lord of the blazing sun, there's no need to be polite since we're siblings. I'll give you a greeting gift as your big brother. Jojo set up a red packet one and filled it with 200 sword shield soldier class change certificates and 100 poison crossbow soldier class change certificates. Then, he sent them to her. She did not accept it immediately. Instead, she replied. Spiritual medicine Lord, big brother, Linger will supply you all herbs you need in the future. You don't have to trade anymore. If you want anything, just tell Linger. If I don't have it, I'll buy seeds first and plant them now. They'll grow quickly. Linger had the legendary tier lord talent, the divine herb garden. She could therefore say this confidently. Jojo smiled and did not refuse. Lord of the blazing sun, all right, feel free to let big brother know if you need help in the future. I have too many class change certificates at the very least. Spiritual medicine Lord, hee, thank you, big brother. Only then did she accept the red packet. Spiritual medicine Lord, wow. Poison crossbow beginner soldier. This is the first time I've heard of such a soldier type. Lord of the blazing sun, you will see all kinds of soldier types in the future. It's getting late. Rest early. Spiritual medicine Lord, yes, yes. Good night, big brother. Lord of the blazing sun, good night, little sister. After the conversation ended, Jojo looked at the conversation between the two of them and could feel that Linger's tone and attitude were much more natural than before now that they had a better relationship. This was exactly what he wanted. He stopped thinking about it. After confirming that there was nothing to do, he returned to the master bedroom to sleep. Jojo, who was lying in bed, opened his eyes. It's the 6th day. We will welcome the novice lord test in less than 2 days. His expression was more serious. He felt that his strength had already surpassed most lords and that it should not be a problem for him to pass the novice lord test. However, he still felt uneasy until he really faced it. He opened the world channel. The bright blood-colored countdown stood at the top of the world channel. Countdown, 47 hours, 38 minutes, 11 seconds. Time passed by the second. The lords were also discussing it. This countdown is like F***ing urging our deaths. Stop chatting. Hurry up and develop your territory in the last 2 days. Develop my *SS. Only 2 days left. How far can it develop? Brothers, I want to give up. I'll start giving up right away. Fellow Cerulean Planet family members, this is the last time we'll talk here. I can't take it anymore. In a while, I'll give up my status as a lord and change my profession to an adventurer to join a local faction. Coincidentally, there's a human gathering place called the Wind Whisper Valley near my territory. Let's meet again if fate allows. Adventurers might not necessarily be weaker than lords. Both of them can increase their strengths, but adventurers need to kill the fog monsters with their own hands. Even though the risk is a little higher, who says we won't meet the top lords again when we become godlike ourselves? Stop talking about it. I'm already fantasizing about sitting and drinking tea with Big Boss Blazing Sun, the Dragon Lady, and the others after becoming a top adventurer. I'll persist just a little longer. Can any big shot give me a hint on what else I can do in the last 2 days? Can I only rely on killing fog monsters to increase my strength? Lord of the Blazing Sun, Glory of the Pioneer, you should mainly try to increase the strength of military professions. If you have spare energy, you can try building a wall to strengthen the territory's defense. F***ck. Big Boss Blazing Sun spoke. Building a wall can indeed greatly reduce the pressure of the monster's attacks. There are only 2 days left. I suggest you build a smaller wall. Hee, Big Boss Blazing Sun and I have the same thinking. I've been building a wall for the past 2 days. Jojo looked at the comments of the Cerulean planet lords. He said those words on account that they were fellow citizens of the Cerulean planet. He would not make any suggestions at all if it was a foreign race lord. As for other forms of help, how many billions of Cerulean planet lords were there? Jojo understood that he did not have the ability to help the lords of the entire Cerulean planet. What he could do would be to save himself and the people he cared about. Jojo stopped thinking about it. He got up from the bed and walked out of the Lord's courtyard. He did not summon his subjects. Instead, he went to Bai Yi's residence immediately. As soon as he arrived, he saw 2 soldiers guarding both sides of the door. When the 2 soldiers saw Jojo, they immediately said respectfully, "How's Bai Yi? Captain asked us to guard the door when she returned last night. She said she should not to be disturbed by anyone other than the Lord or until she came out. We've been on guard all night. But the captain has no intention of coming out yet. My lord, shall I call the captain?" The soldier on the left said respectfully, "No, thanks. Just continue to stand guard here. Inform me immediately when Bai Yi comes out." "Yes, my lord." The 2 of them said respectfully. Jojo looked at the door for the last time. He had a mental strength talent so he could vaguely feel Bai Yi sleeping inside. Moreover, her mental energy was also strengthening at a stable speed. It had already far exceeded his. Is a hero that strong? He was not jealous. Bai Yi was dead loyal to him. The stronger she was, the better she could protect her lord and help the development of the territory. He did not stay any longer and came to the gate of summoning. From today onwards, he could summon 44 subjects a day. The gate of summoning suddenly lit up with a brighter white light, and 44 people walked out. "Greetings, my lord, X44. After the 44 of them came out and saw Jojo, they immediately knelt down and said respectfully, "Welcome to Blazing Sun City." Then, he opened their personal information and began to check them. Chapter 60. Great increase in military strength. First time hearing of the Conqueror's blast furnace. Jojo looked at the 44 people. Among them were 22 male subjects and 22 female subjects. The distribution of men and women was very balanced. There were 7 professionals among them. The 5 professionals were subjects that the gate of summoning could definitely summon. The other 2 professionals were naturally subjects summoned by the gate of summoning based on their own probabilities. Among the 7 professionals, there was a green bronze tier elementary grade cavalryman, a green bronze tier architect, 2 black iron tier advanced grade sword shield soldiers, a black iron tier intermediate grade tailor, a black iron tier elementary grade blacksmith, and a black iron tier elementary grade carpenter. The cavalryman was the first of his soldier type. His name was Zhangxiang. He was wearing cavalry equipment. There was a spear and a sword on both sides of his horse's back, and under him was a green bronze tier elementary grade cloud horse. Under Jojo's inquiry, he told his lord that the cloud horse was a war horse type mount that could be raised artificially. They were good horses that could be used in war. There was a yellow gold tier regional territory called Cloud Gallop City in the Aurora Kingdom. That was the Aurora Kingdom's horse breeding base specially used to raise cloud horses. Apparently, they even had a horse raising lord to enhance these effects in Cloud Gallop City. He was valued by the current king of the Aurora Kingdom because of this. The king completely entrusted the heavy responsibility of nurturing cavalry mounts to him. After Jojo heard this, he opened his information. He realized that the cavalry was the same as the poisonous crossbowmen. They were both beginner soldiers. Jojo was not surprised. Each cavalryman with the warhorse under them could fight against 2 ordinary soldiers. This was definitely stronger than basic soldiers. However, he did not know how much combat strength the cavalrymen would have left if they did not have their war horses. His skills were similar to the sand cavalryman he had summoned with the Emperor of Sand's spatial ring. However, he did not have sand soldier racial skills like the sand body, sand revival, and sand stealth technique. Other than this cavalryman, the other life professionals such as architects, tailors, blacksmiths, and carpenters were all necessary life professionals in his territory. Naturally, the more the better. Therefore, Jojo was quite satisfied with this summoning. After that, he arranged the placement for these 44 new subjects, and the 7 professionals naturally went to their respective professional venues. As for the remaining 37 subjects, Jojo arranged for the female subjects to help in the kitchen while the remaining male subjects went to help Elder Zhao build buildings. Bai Yu was still in a deep slumber after making arrangements for them. On the other hand, the cartographer, Wu Tu, called all the members of the reconnaissance team and prepared to go to Fish Spring Town to redraw the regional map of Fish Spring Town. Jojo told him to be careful and not expose his identity. Wu Tu received the order and left with his men. Seeing this, Jojo also called for Nazario. Then, he found Zhang Kang and asked him to bring all the soldiers, including the 26 elemental archers recruited yesterday, to the monster ranches to clean up the monsters. In front of the monster ranches. Jojo looked at the monster ranches in front of him. Sandmen wandered around the monster ranch. There was no internal conflict, nor was there any hostility towards Jojo and the soldiers outside the fence. They looked abnormally obedient. Yes, my lord. 750 desert fog lizards, 750 black-tailed fog scorpions, and 750 sandmen have all been nurtured. Mugu said respectfully. He clicked his tongue. There were a total of 2,250 monsters in these 3 monster ranches alone. This was already more than the number of Sandman subjects under the regional Scarlet Lord. How many green bronze tier elementary grade monsters have you nurtured? Jojo asked curiously. A total of 11 green bronze tier elementary grade desert fog lizard leaders, 18 green bronze tier elementary grade black-tailed fog scorpion leaders, and 13 green bronze tier elementary grade sandman leaders. Mugu replied. He was very satisfied. From today onwards, his monster ranches would be able to provide him with green bronze tier elementary grade products. Let's begin. Jojo said. Then, he looked at Nazario, who was not far away. Nazario and Jojo were telepathic. It immediately spread its dragon wings when it saw Jojo's gaze. Then, it suddenly flapped its wings and flew above the monster ranch as it stirred up a violent wind. An earth-shattering dragon roar. Accompanied by an irresistible dragon might. All the sandmen were immediately stunned by the dragon might and could not move. Many sandmen fainted. Same old rules. The soldiers who feel that they are about to break through should go in and kill these fog monsters first. Come out after breaking through and give up the place to other soldiers. Zhang Kang immediately began to make arrangements. The soldiers obeyed and immediately began to move. Soon, the first batch of soldiers who were about to break through entered the Sandman's monster ranch and began to kill monsters to break through. Among them were 5 green bronze tier elementary grade soldiers, including Zhang Kang. They were already close to breaking through after emerging from the time ruins yesterday. Now, they could use this opportunity to enter the green bronze tier intermediate grade. With the help of Nazario's dragon might, the efficiency of the soldiers killing monsters had increased by at least 10 times. Soon, the 750 sandmen in the monster ranch were cleaned up. There was only one black iron tier elementary grade sandman left in the small fence. Not surprisingly, Zhang Kang and the others successfully broke through to the green bronze tier intermediate grade. After that, they used the dragon might to clean up the desert fog lizards and black-tailed fog scorpions in the other two monster ranches. After cleaning everything, a total of 15 soldiers broke through from Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade to Green Bronze Tier Elementary Grade, 88 soldiers broke through from Black Iron Tier Intermediate Grade to Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade, and 256 soldiers broke through from Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade to Black Iron Tier Intermediate Grade. After that, Jojo got someone to drip a drop of golden corpse water on the corpses of these monsters as he began to retrieve the loots of the 2,250 fog monsters. It took more than 3 hours. Jojo had just finished extracting the loots of the more than 2,000 fog monsters. Among them, monster flesh, water bags, sand stealth skill book, sand trap skill book, sand form skill book, sand summoning series skill book, black-tailed fog scorpions poison sac, antidote formula, blood cleansing pill formula, and black scorpion poison crossbow all dropped a lot. Other than that, there were still 8,635 black iron tier mist cores, 84 green bronze tier mist cores, 981 sword shield soldier class change certificates, 344 sword shield soldier recruitment books, 756 poison crossbowman class change certificates, 454 poison crossbowman recruitment books, 1,827 kilograms of sand crystal. Even though looking at the loots all over the ground was a very blissful thing. However, Jojo was also so tired that he doubted his life. Those kingdoms and empires. Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of soldiers will die in one battle. How did they extract the loot from these many corpses? Jojo stood up and shook his sore hands. He could not help but ponder about this problem. He thought for a moment. He called Zhao Changshao over. Soon, Zhao Changshao came in front of Jojo. He said respectfully, "Elder Zhao, you're always welcome." Then, he raised his hand and pointed at the small sand crystal mountain not far away. These sand crystals and nearly 500,000 units of basic materials in the territory. Elder Zhao, if possible, use them to build a wall around the territory today. There shouldn't be enough sand crystals. After the sand crystals are used, we can use the basic materials to build an ordinary wall first. When the sand crystals are available in the future, we can replace the original ordinary wall. Jojo suggested. Time is tight now. This is the only way. However, I need a lot of help if I want to build the wall by today. Zhao Changshao said solemnly. After we deal with that regional Scarlet Lord today, you can mobilize all the soldiers in the territory. Jojo waved his hand and made a decision. Zhao Changshao was immediately relieved. He naturally knew that there were more than 2,000 soldiers in the territory alone. With the help of these 2,000 people and his own ability, the chances of building the wall before tomorrow were very high. Do you know how the Aurora Kingdom retrieved the loot from the corpses after the war? Jojo asked. Generally speaking, there are two ways. The first is to use golden corpse water to extend the time the corpse can be preserved. Then, we can slowly extract the loot from the corpse with human strength. The second is to quickly retrieve the loot with an item called the Conqueror's Blast Furnace. However, I don't know much about such items. I only know that this Conqueror's Blast Furnace shouldn't be a rare item. At least it's not as precious as Aurora crystals. In the Aurora Kingdom many large mercenary groups, adventurer associations, and some large factions will more or less have some conquistador blast furnaces. Zhao Changshao said. Jojo made a mental note. After that, he led Nazario and the soldiers into the time ruins and obtained another 384 elemental archer recruitment books and the loyalty of 13 elves. After he threw all 384 elemental archer recruitment books, 344 sword shield soldier recruitment books, and 454 poison crossbow soldier recruitment books into the gate of summoning to recruit soldiers. The number of soldiers under his command had already reached 3,882. He looked at the soldiers who were almost filled with sand in front of him, including Jojo. Everyone was shocked. Who would have thought? This was only the power of a territory that had been established for 6 days. Just as Jojo was becoming ambitious, a soldier quickly ran over and came to his side. "The captain is out of the room." Jojo's eyes lit up. He asked Zhang Kang to take over these soldiers for the time being. Then, he immediately walked towards Bai Yi. Chapter 61. Blood Fire Arrow Elf Bai Yi. The Blazing Sun Army is established. Jojo quickly encountered Bai Yi, who was rushing over. Bai Yi said respectfully immediately after seeing Jojo. Her face was still filled with excitement. He was clearly very surprised by his gains. Jojo looked at Bai Yi in a daze. At this moment, Bai Yi's hair had changed from black to blood red long hair. Her skin had also become as fair as milk. Her big eyes had also turned pure blood red. Flame marks that looked like tears appeared on both sides of her face. Not only did it not damage her looks, but it also added to her wild beauty. Her height had increased, and her legs were even longer. Her figure had also become taller. She was wearing blood-red military equipment and carrying a blood-red bow and arrow on her back. Wisps of fire elemental energy, wood elemental energy, and a blood-colored energy surrounded her, as if the other party was a favorite of these 3 elements. This was not the most important thing. The most shocking thing was that Jojo could feel the other party's vigorous blood energy and mental strength just by standing in front of her. In Jojo's mental perception, the other party's current physical and mental strength was even much more exaggerated than the Scarlet Lords he had encountered. Bai Yi also realized something and immediately restrained her overflowing life aura, returning to the aura of a normal person. "I didn't mean to offend my lord. Please punish me, my lord." Bai Yi immediately half knelt on the ground. "It's okay. I know you didn't mean to." Jojo helped her up and opened her attribute information curiously. Subject: Bai Yi, Hero Unit. Hero Title: Blood Fire Arrow Elf. Position: Epic Tier Heroes Fate Level. Ability Overview: a hero with both human and wood elves bloodlines. His body contains powerful energy and he is proficient in elemental archery. He is a hero that can make enemies tremble in fear on the battlefield. Bloodline: human bloodline, white silver tier intermediate grade, 86%, wood elf bloodline, epic tier advanced grade, 14%. Skills: hero skill, blood fire arrow rain, hero skill, stability of morale, extraordinary intermediate grade tree of life meditation technique, green bronze tier intermediate grade wood elemental control, green bronze tier intermediate grade fire elemental control, green bronze tier intermediate grade elemental archery technique, wood, fire, blood, green bronze tier intermediate grade fire vine arrow, green bronze tier intermediate grade powered up shot, green bronze tier intermediate grade 5 consecutive shots, green bronze tier intermediate grade poison blood arrow, green bronze tier intermediate grade silent arrow skill, green bronze tier intermediate grade agility technique, green bronze tier intermediate grade invisibility technique, green bronze tier intermediate grade crossbow arrow technique, green bronze tier elementary grade poison making technique, green bronze tier elementary grade poison distinguishing technique, green bronze tier elementary grade detoxification. Knowledge. Loyalty, 100. Potential, epic tier advanced grade. Hero biography, 1. Under the blessing of the human lord, the lord of the blazing sun, he obtained the hero inheritance of the blood fire arrow elf and became the second generation blood fire arrow elf. Hero's personal reputation rating +1, elf race reputation +10,000, high continent reputation +5. Wasn't this attribute panel too luxurious? Especially in the skill column. There were so many skills that there were ellipses. However, Jojo was most curious about her level. He opened the column. Specific information appeared. Epic tier heroes fate level. The fate level acknowledged by the Supreme Will has left its own mark on the river of time. It can be revived by a specific living being after tracing the mark. Fate position amplification, physical strength plus 2,000%, soul strength plus 2,000%, life willpower plus 500%. Her physical strength and soul strength had increased by 20 times. No wonder he felt that ridiculous blood energy and mental strength. Such an existence. Perhaps she could casually fight 100 or even 1,000 people on the battlefield. Only such an existence could be called a hero. The more Jojo looked at it, the more he could feel Bai Yi's strength. He was very happy. The stronger Bai Yi was, the more guaranteed both his and Blazing Sun City's development was. Grab hold of your new power. In an hour. Let's go suppress that regional Scarlet Lord. An hour later, outside Blazing Sun City, a total of 3,885 soldiers gathered here and lined up neatly. Standing at the front was undoubtedly the Lord, Jojo. Beside him was Nazario, who was lying on the ground. Not far in front of him were Bai Yi and Zhang Kang, who were looking at him respectfully and fanatically. Behind them stood a team of more than 3,000 soldiers. Among them were 1,202 poisonous crossbowmen, 1,478 sword shield soldiers, 1,162 elemental archers, 39 elemental archers of the elves. There was also a cavalryman and a spearman. Moreover, they were well equipped. Some wore the fire demon fog wolf set, while others wore the new military equipment that Carter Kim and the other blacksmiths had created that matched their strength. Further back, was a convoy of 100 mechanostriders and simple wooden carts. Jojo looked at them and he was filled with pride. They were the strongest strength Jojo had now without a doubt. Jojo was also confident. In the future, he could expand the team in front of him to 10 times, 100 times, or even more. But before that, he had something important to do now. In a while, I will lead you all to the Sandman Lord and destroy the last Scarlet Lord faction in the Blazing Sun Desert. Right now, I have an important decision to make. I'm going to merge you into a complete army. This army will be called the Blazing Sun Army. It represents the first army of our Blazing Sun City. And you? You will be the first batch of soldiers to join the Blazing Sun Army. Bloodfire Arrow Elf, Bai Yi. Jojo looked at Bai Yi. I'm here. Bai Yi said respectfully. You followed me the longest and are the strongest amongst everyone here. You're also the first hero in the territory. I hereby appoint you as the first Legion commander of the Blazing Sun Legion. Understood. Bai Yi said firmly. Zhang Kang. I'm here. As the first sword shield soldier in Blazing Sun City and the strongest sword shield soldier now, I appoint you as the deputy commander of the Blazing Sun Legion. Understood. Zhang Kang's calm expression revealed some excitement. As for the specific lower ranks, soldiers can obtain them with military merits. And right now, military merit is already in front of us. It definitely belongs to the Blazing Sun Army. On my command. Depart. Strike the Sandman Lord. Yes. The soldiers roared. Their voices shook the world. In the Blazing Sun City, the life profession subjects and unemployed subjects who saw the scene were also very excited. In the Elven Empire billions of kilometers away from Blazing Sun City, the capital of the Elven Empire, Alanos. In the Imperial Palace, astrologer meowed. You're saying that a lord from another world obtained the hero inheritance of our Bloodfire Arrow Elf? An elf in a gorgeous and resplendent dress sat upright on the throne, looking calmly at a female elf in the astrologer's uniform below. She was the Empress of the Elven Empire. The original elven empress, Elise Ariel. I'm absolutely certain. Your Majesty. Every hero is an imperial treasure. It's also our main combat strength against the other empires and the Scarlet Lords. And Nadia's hero inheritance originally belonged to our elven empire. We can't let her fall into the hands of outsiders. Astrologer Meowlt said. Have you divined where that lord is? Elise Ariel asked. The divination is out. Even though it's relatively far away. But we can reach there in a short period of time at a price. Meowlt said. Elise Ariel did not reply, seemingly deep in thoughts. Every hero is the treasure of the empire, just as Meowlt said. She possessed the huge elven empire, which only had a little more than 100 elven heroes as of now. Moreover, a large portion of them were elven heroes with low status. Therefore, she also valued the appearance of new elven heroes. The imperial palace fell silent. Meowlt stopped talking. Ignore that lord first. There's an agreement with the supreme will. We can't attack the lord's races below the empire level for no reason. Don't even think about challenging the dignity of the supreme will. However, you can pay attention to that lord's faction for the time being. Bring back the heir of the Bloodfire Arrow Elf if his faction fails in the competition for the title of Lord of all races. Elise Ariel spoke. Meowlt opened her mouth as if she wanted to say something. But in the end, she said nothing. After that, Elise Ariel let the astrologer leave. Elise Ariel was the only one left in the huge imperial palace. She stood up and waved her right hand gently. A crystal coffin appeared in front of her. Elise Ariel looked over. The life form lying in the crystal coffin was Nadia, the Bloodfire Arrow Elf. Her skin was fair and tender, and she even breathed faintly, as if she was alive. However, for some reason, she had yet to wake up. Is it a coincidence? The time prior just found your mark of fate not long ago. Your hero inheritance appeared in the world at the same time. That's good too. I won't have to wait for too long. For my elven empire to possess 2 Bloodfire Arrow Elves? Elise Ariel stroked the crystal coffin and muttered to herself as she looked at Nadia's face inside. Actually, in her heart, even though the successor of Nadia's hero inheritance was worthy of attention, it was not too important. Nadia, the true Bloodfire Arrow Elf, was about to be resurrected. How could her successor compare to the first generation? As for the lord who had the successor of the Bloodfire Arrow Elf hero inheritance, in her heart, she felt that it would probably not be long before he died in the wave of the competition for the title of Lord of all races. Both Bloodfire Arrow Elves would naturally become hers. Chapter 62. Hero Technique, Stabilizing Morale. Incite defection again. In the desert. Jojo and the soldiers looked at the Sandman's territory in the distance. The huge hole that Nazario had melted with the magma dragon breath on the huge desert pyramid the last time was still there. About 100 to 200 sandmen were repairing the pyramid while a portion of the remaining sandmen patrolled the perimeter of the pyramid. The others, which were not immediately visible, should be in the pyramid. The corners of Jojo's mouth curled up slightly before he looked at Nazario, who was not far away. Nazario instantly understood Jojo's thoughts. It slowly flapped its wings and flew into the sky straight to the pyramid. Prepare for battle. Bai Yi and Zhongkang immediately responded and told all the soldiers to prepare for battle. On the other side, Nazario, which was zooming towards the pyramid, quickly attracted the attention of all the sandmen with its huge size. When these sandmen found out that the visitor was actually the evil dragon that destroyed their pyramid previously, they immediately became angry. It wasn't enough to bully us once, you want to bully us a second time, right? There's no end to it, right? The sandmen roared angrily. Then, they picked up everything they could throw at Nazario in the air. However, what they threw could not hit Nazario at all at the height it was flying at. The next second, an overwhelming dragon might descended with a dragon roar. All the Sandmen were so frightened that they could not move immediately. The entire territory of the Sandman Lord suddenly fell silent. Nazario seized the opportunity to dive down. When he was still 40 to 50 meters away from the top of the pyramid, he suddenly opened his dragon mouth. Magma dragon breath. The scorching magma spat out from Nazario's mouth was like a torrent and instantly covered the top of the pyramid again. Once the magma dragon breath was unleashed, the Sandmen realized that not only had the repairs been in vain, but the pyramid had also suffered greater damage than last time. At this moment, many Sandman, elite Sandman, and Sandman leaders regained mobility because the effects of the dragon might had already disappeared. They threw their weapons at Nazario with all their might in their anger. This time, Nazario was hit. However, even their lord would not be able to pierce through the thick lava armor on its body. The attacks of these black iron and green bronze tier Sandmen did not even make a scratch on Nazario. Nazario only glanced at the Sandmen monsters that dared to offend it. Their bodies burned out of thin air, and they quickly died under the flames. No one else dared to attack when they saw that. Nazario glanced coldly at the cowardly Sandmen, elite Sandmen, and Sandmen leader. Then, it suddenly flapped its wings and flew into the sky again. It was not interested in these weaklings as a dragon with noble bloodline. Its actions just now were firstly because it obeyed its master's orders, and secondly, it felt that it was fun. It completed its order and had enough fun. It was time to be prepared to deal with the regional Scarlet Lord. Even though it felt that it would definitely win. However, the principle of a lion doing its best to capture a rabbit ran through its veins as its dragon bloodline inheritance. Therefore, it would not underestimate any enemy. Nearly 100 kill notifications immediately appeared in front of Joe when Nazario melted the pyramid again. There was no lack of monsters at the level of the Sandman Elite and the Sandman Leader. We can start attacking. Jojo ordered calmly. The enemy was still in an extremely chaotic state, so it was a good opportunity to take advantage of the situation. Bai Yi immediately carried out Jojo's orders. Soon, more than 3,800 soldiers cried out war cries and rushed towards the Sandmen in the chaos. They pressed forward like a torrent, not afraid of the enemies in the distance at all. The reason why they were so fearless even if the enemy were under the command of a regional Scarlet Lord was firstly, because Jojo's soldiers had won all the battles so far. These victories increased their confidence and courage in the face of the enemy to a certain extent. On the other hand, it was because of Bai Yi's hero skill from the Bloodfire Arrow Elf. Hero skill, stabilizing morale. Hero skill, stabilizing morale. Level, green bronze tier intermediate grade, enhanceable. Skill effect 1, the Bloodfire Arrow Elf can allow your soldiers to still attack fearlessly when facing a strong enemy and maintain strong morale when the Bloodfire Arrow Elf is on the same battlefield. Skill effect 2, if your own faction loses to the enemy faction, the Bloodfire Arrow Elf can maintain the basic morale of the remaining soldiers of your own faction to fight again. Skill effect 3, the Bloodfire Arrow Elf can allow the soldiers of your own faction to avoid or weaken some of the negative effects of the bloodline pressure, mental deterrence, soul control, and other willpower from the outside world. Note, it can currently affect a total of 7,000 units of soldiers from your own faction. The range and effect will increase as the Bloodfire Arrow Elf grows. This hero skill was very strong. However, what Jojo valued the most was its skill effect 3. This was because Jojo had always been worried that his soldiers would encounter a similar situation in the future after seeing the astonishing effect of Nazario's dragon might. It would probably be very difficult for them to resist the pressure of a powerful bloodline without corresponding defensive methods. It would be very likely that they would be reduced to lambs waiting to be slaughtered like the monsters in the Monster Ranch. However, now that he had Bai Yi's morale stabilization skill, they had some means to save themselves in such a situation at the very least. In the distance, the Sandmen quickly saw more than 3,000 human soldiers rushing over from afar. It was as if they had received an order. They no longer cared about the lava dragon in the sky. A portion of the Sandmen picked up their weapons and rushed towards the enemies who dared to offend them. Another portion of the Sandmen stood where they were and began to summon the others. As a large number of Sandmen began to be summoned, the Sandmen in front of them began to increase at a terrifying speed visible to the naked eye. In an instant, there were more than 2,500 Sandmen from the original 1,000. Jojo was not surprised to see this. This was how the Sandmen fought. The lowest Black Iron Tier elementary grade Sandman was in charge of blocking the enemy. The Black Iron Tier intermediate grade and Black Iron Tier intermediate grade Sandman were in charge of summoning the Sandman at the back to increase their troop numbers. Even though these summoned Sandmen only existed temporarily, it was useful. After using one batch, they could summon another batch. As long as there was enough energy in their bodies, an endless stream of Sandmen would crush the enemies sooner or later. This was also why the Sandman Lord could rely on these subordinates to become a regional Scarlet Lord faction. Jojo suddenly felt that it looked inexplicably familiar when he thought of this. Isn't this my F***ing human wave tactic? He shook his head and stopped thinking nonsense. Then, he stretched out his right hand and aimed at the Sandmen. The insight defection talent that had long cooled down was suddenly activated. An invisible wave instantly covered all the Sandmen fighting and the Sandmen in the pyramid. Lord Talent hint, a total of 10 Black Iron Tier elementary grade Sandmen, 6 Black Iron Tier intermediate grade Sandmen, and 2 Green Bronze Tier elementary grade Sandman leaders have betrayed their Lord's faction and become your loyal subordinates. Jojo could feel 18 more Sandman monsters had become his loyal subordinates. He could sense their existence and could also issue some orders from afar. Rebel. Jojo directly ordered all the Sandmen who had been instigated to defect. In the Sandman camp, a Sandman who was fighting a sword shield soldier was stunned. Then, he turned around and slashed at his Sandman compatriots. The Sandman companion looked at it in confusion. The sword shield soldier opposite him was also stunned. What is going on? Did it miss its target? Missing at this range is a little ridiculous. Behind the Sandman, the 2 Green Bronze Tier elementary grade Sandman leaders who had just summoned the Sandman suddenly trembled. Then, their eyes became much clearer. They looked at each other and instantly understood the deeper meaning in the other party's eyes. They confirmed that they were all traitors. The 2 Sandman leaders silently retracted their gazes. Then, they controlled the summoned Sandman to launch a sneak attack on the surrounding Sandman compatriots that were being summoned. Chaos began at this moment. Chapter 63. Hero Skill Blood Fire Meteor. The Sandman Lord appears. Jojo looked at the slightly chaotic scene behind the Sandman and pondered. Insight defection might be a Black Iron Tier Lord talent that could only turn 2% of the enemy Lord's forces into loyal subordinates at any one time, but he personally felt that the future potential of this talent was still very high. They were instigating the rebellion according to the percentages after all. If he could use the Lord talent fragment to increase its talent level, in the future it was not impossible for him to wave his hand and make all of this enemy surrender. Upgrading my 100% drop rate to the mythical tier by collecting 1 billion Black Iron Tier Lord talent fragments, is something I might not even achieve even after the competition for the title of Lord of all races ends. Wouldn't it be a waste not to use this large pile of fragments? Why don't I use the Lord talent fragments I collected to upgrade my other Lord talents? It's best if it is those Lord talents with the potential to improve. This can also strengthen my territory. Moreover, if my territory becomes stronger, I will also come into contact with more secrets of the High Continent. At that time, I might be able to upgrade my 100% drop rate Lord talent in other ways. Jojo was deep in thought. Then, he stopped thinking about it and summoned 8 Green Bronze Tier elementary grade Sand Cavalry through the Emperor of Sand's spatial ring. After he broke through to the Green Bronze Tier elementary grade and enhanced his elementary grade mental potential, his current mental strength was already enough for him to summon 8 green bronze tier elementary grade sand cavalry. Then, he summoned a green bronze tier elementary grade sandman leader through the green bronze tier elementary grade summoning skill he had obtained in the morning. Skill name, Summon Sandman Leader. Skill description, Summoning type skill. Controls the sand element and condenses a green bronze tier elementary grade sandman leader that completely obeys your orders and will get sandmen of elementary grade intelligence to fight for you. The summoned sandman leader did not have the ability to summon, but it had the physique of a normal green bronze tier elementary grade fog monster. Coupled with the green bronze tier elementary grade sandification ability, it could at least be a meat shield on the battlefield. After that, Jojo did what he did the last time, he got the sandmen he summoned to charge into the battlefield and carry the injured soldiers back to Zhang Qianjing and the other 2 doctors for treatment. In addition, they had already brought enough life potions this time, so they were not worried about not running out. On the battlefield, the Bloodfire Arrow Elf, Bai Yi, was riding on a mechanostrider and shooting arrows at the edge of the battlefield. Every arrow of the hero Bai Yi was extremely lethal. Even a green bronze tier intermediate grade sandman leader could be easily killed by her arrow. A cold glint flashed across her eyes just as she saw the sandman monsters summon a large number of sandmen. Bai Yi suddenly stopped the mechanostrider. She drew her bow and aimed at the group of sandmen controlling the summoned creatures. Then, she took a deep breath. At this moment, Bai Yi felt as if she resonated with the battlefield. Every scene on the battlefield appeared clearly in her perception. Not only that, she could still sense the surging blood energy on the battlefield. Moreover, she felt that she could clearly sense the elemental energy in every elemental archer on the battlefield and could even mobilize them. And so she did. Everyone suddenly realized. The blood energy in the air suddenly became restless and surged in Bai Yi's direction. The senses of the 1162 elemental archers were especially obvious. This was because they also felt an insignificant wisp of fire elemental energy fly out of their bodies and converge on Bai Yi's fiery red bow. Jojo also looked at her as if he had sensed something. Flame arrows burning with the color of blood condensed around Bai Yi's body. 10, dozens, hundreds. In the blink of an eye, a total of more than 1,000 flame arrows appeared in the air around Bai Yi. The tips of their arrows were aimed at the Sandman camp, and the arrows trembled slightly. It seemed to be about to shoot out and kill the enemy in the distance in the next second. It was the hero skill, Blood Rocket Rain. Hero skill, Blood Rocket Rain. Level, Gradeless. Skill effect, the Bloodfire Arrow Elf spreads its perception throughout the entire battlefield and understands every dynamic on the battlefield. At the same time, she can mobilize the blood elemental energy on the battlefield and the fire elemental energy in all the elemental archers' bodies to gather around her, forming a vast number of blood fire killing arrows to kill more distant enemies. At this moment, the Sandman seemed to have received some orders. They abandoned the enemies in front of them and ran towards Bai Yi. Stop them. Don't let them affect the Legion commander. Zhang Kang, who was fighting a bloody battle, cried out the order when he saw this. Then, he rushed over immediately. Go. Bai Yi ignored the sandmen rushing towards her. His eyes were as calm as an eternal iceberg. She released the bowstring. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Thousands of blood fire arrows instantly shot out as if it had been released. They quickly streaked across the sky like a blood-red meteor shower that ran rampant in the sky accompanied by the sound of air exploding. In the blink of an eye, they landed behind the Sandman. Boom 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 boom. Every blood fire killing arrow that landed around the Sandman would instantly explode, killing all the Sandmen within a radius of 4 to 5 meters and leaving behind a pile of burning sand. Thousands of blood fire killing arrows turned the Sandmen's back up into a sea of fire. This blood fire arrow rain directly killed 600 to 700 Sandman monsters. It directly destroyed more than half of the Sandman subjects. John Kang and the others, who were blocking the Sandman monsters, suddenly saw the Sandmen in front of them stiffen. Then, they collapsed into countless sand and scattered on the ground. The soldiers of Blazing Sun City on the battlefield also saw many Sandman summons suddenly collapse into sand. The pressure on them instantly lessened greatly. Where? Bai Yi put the bow back on her back and panted slightly. Her face was a little pale. She sensed the elemental energy in her body and realized that there was only about 5% left. Not only that, her mental strength was almost exhausted. Even the blood energy in her body had temporarily decreased a lot. Her expression did not change. It seemed that blood fire arrow rain was a strategic level hero skill. Even if she was a hero now, she could only release it once in a short period of time. She would have to at least recover completely before she could release it again. Not far away, Jojo nodded slightly when he saw this. This was the strength of a hero. Bai Yi's attitude just now almost gave him the illusion that he was seeing Nadia's last arrow again. At this moment, a Sandman holding a golden staff and wearing a golden mask walked out of the pyramid. It was more than 3 meters tall and looked quite tall. It glanced at Nazario above its head when it emerged, then its gaze passed through the battlefield and looked directly at Jojo at the rear. Jojo also looked at it calmly. Monster information appeared. Monster name, Sandman Lord, Simon, Scarlet Lord. Strength level, White Silver Tier Elementary Grade. Monster description, the strongest Scarlet Lord in the Blazing Sun Desert. It controls the entire Blazing Sun Desert and has many Sandman subjects under its command. It is good at summoning and was once a member of the Emperor of Sand's race when the Emperor of Sand was alive. Loots, 10 White Silver Tier Mist Cores, drop rate, 100%, 5 Origin Crystals, drop rate, 100%, 300 kilograms Black Iron Tier Sand Crystal, drop rate, 20%, 1 White Silver Tier Elementary Grade Sandman Scepter, drop rate, 10%, 1 White Silver Tier Elementary Grade Sandification Skill Book, drop rate, 5%, 1 White Silver Tier Elementary Grade Sandman Summoning Lord, drop rate, 2%, 1 White Silver Tier Elementary Grade Alchemy Pharmacist Recruitment Book, drop rate, 1%, 6 Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade Lord Talent Crystal Fragments, drop rate, 0%. Chapter 64. Killing the Sandman Lord. Emperor of Sands item. Destroy it. Nazario and Jojo were telepathic. After receiving his order, it immediately roared at the other party and released its dragon might to control it on the spot. Then, it swooped down and fired a magma dragon breath at the other party. The Sandman Lord Simon's pupils constricted slightly. It suddenly smashed the scepter to the ground. The scorching lava dragon breath directly buried the immobile enemy below. When Jojo saw this, a smile appeared on his face. But in the next second, his eyes narrowed slightly. He suddenly felt that something was wrong. Why wasn't there a kill notification? Nazario had already noticed the abnormality. It looked not far away and saw a figure running away in the distance. It was the Sandman Lord, Simon. Trying to escape. This was the first time he had encountered a lord who knew how to escape. Then, Nazario chased after him without the need for his reminder. Bai Yi also activated the overload mode of the Mechanostrider Little Bird Run. She chased after it extremely quickly. The dragon and the woman quickly caught up to the Sandman Lord. The Sandman Lord also noticed the two pursuers. Its expression changed slightly. Then, it chanted an incantation and knocked the scepter on the ground twice. 2 White Silver Tier Elementary Grade Sandman Lords instantly condensed. Then, one pounced on Bai Yi while the other Sandman Lord suddenly stepped on the ground and jumped dozens of meters high before punching Nazario. Nazario's dragon eyes turned cold. It opened its dragon mouth and ate the Sandman Lord that rushed up. Then, it chewed and spat it out in disdain. Bai Yi was not afraid at all when she saw the Sandman Lord rushing over. Even if she was only at the green bronze tier intermediate grade who had just consumed a lot of energy. And even if the other party was a summoned creature, it was also a true white silver tier elementary grade. There was actually not much difference between the two with the enhancement of the epic tier fate level. Bai Yi did not even slow down the Mechanostrider. She drew her bow and a fire vine arrow condensed from fire and wood elements appeared on her bow out of thin air. The fire vine arrow shot out quickly and hit the summoned creature squarely. Not only did it retreat more than 10 steps, but more than 10 flame vines also grew crazily from the place they had hit, firmly binding it. Then, Bai Yi drew her bow 4 times in a row. 4 fire vine arrows shot out almost consecutively, scattering around the other party's body. Bai Yi snorted and continued to pursue the Sandman Lord. At this moment, Nazario opened its dragon mouth and spat out another magma dragon breath, spraying it at the fleeing Sandman Lord. The Sandman Lord panicked. It knocked its scepter 6 times in a row and summoned 6 summons of the white silver tier elementary grade Sandman Lord to block behind him, trying to block their attacks. The magma dragon breath directly exploded the summoned creatures of the 6 Sandman Lords, and then its power blasted onto the Sandman Lord without decreasing. After the dragon breath dissipated, only the tattered corpse of the Sandman Lord was left on the ground. As expected of the Lord's pet, the legendary dragon completely crushed them. Bai Yi stopped and sighed when she saw this scene. She was confident that she could kill the Sandman Lord at her peak. However, she felt that she could not kill the Sandman like how Nazario did with a single strike. Nazario flew over with the Sandman's corpse in its mouth in no time. When it passed by Bai Yi, it nodded slightly in agreement. Then, she immediately jumped down from the Mechanostrider and bowed to it solemnly. She was not proud, because she knew that what the dragon acknowledged was not her own strength but her hero identity. Your pet lava dragon, Nazario has killed the Sandman Lord, Scarlet Lord, Simon. Promotion energy plus 200. Loots condensed. The Blazing Sun Desert has become an ownerless area. After you obtain the regional token, you can become the regional lord of this area. Regional Lord. Jojo looked at the notification. He was looking forward to it. Soon, he saw Nazario come to him with the corpse in its mouth. After putting the corpse down, it flew away to help the other soldiers deal with the remaining Sandmen. Jojo did not waste any time and began to retrieve the loot. Lord Talent hint, you have obtained loot's 10 mist cores, white silver tier, 5 origin crystals, 300 kilograms of sand crystals, black iron tier, 1 Sandman scepter, white silver tier elementary grade, 1 skill book, sandification, white silver tier elementary grade, 1 skill book, summoning Sandman Lord, white silver tier elementary grade, 1 alchemy pharmacist recruitment book, white silver tier elementary grade, 6 Lord Talent crystal fragments, black iron tier elementary grade. Big drop. Zhang Qianjing and the others, who were treating the injured, could not help but look at them enviously. Then, they retracted their gazes and focused on treating the injured. Jojo also began to inspect the loots. There was naturally no need to mention the mist cores, origin crystals, and sand crystals. Jojo looked at the golden scepter. This golden scepter that was more than 3 meters long automatically turned into a scepter about 2 meters long after he held it in his hand. Moreover, the weight was just right. It was very magical. It was completely made of gold. At the top of the scepter was a statue of a Sandman wearing a crown whose face could not be seen clearly. The equipment notification appeared. Equipment name, Sandman Scepter. Equipment grade, white silver tier elementary grade. Equipment effect 1, Sandman Noble's Bloodline Glory. It can reduce a portion of energy consumption when using sand element related skills. Note, when using skills below white silver tier elementary grade, it can reduce energy consumption by up to 50%. The reduction will decrease with the increase in skill strength. Equipment effect 2, the escape route of the Sandman Noble. The user can swap positions with the life summoned by the Sandman. This was the first time he had seen equipment that could aid in escape. Unfortunately, it was a white silver tier elementary grade equipment. He could not use it yet. At this moment, a new notification appeared in front of him. Special hint, this equipment contains a portion of the fragments of the Emperor of Sand's Glory Scepter. Finding other fragments can reforge the Emperor of Sand's Glory Scepter, legendary tier advanced grade. Where can I find this? When Jojo saw the notification, he could not help but mutter in his heart. The high continent is so big. He had no other hints yet. Wouldn't it be like searching for a needle in a haystack with just a fragment? However, he did not expect to encounter other items left behind by the Emperor of Sand after his spatial ring. He was quite fated with this Emperor. He put the scepter into his spatial ring and looked at the remaining loots. Skill quality, white silver tier elementary grade. Skill description, sandify a part of the body for 1 second. Immune to physical damage below the white silver tier. After 1 second, the sandified part of the body will return to its original state. Skill description, summoning type skill. Controls the sand element and condenses a white silver tier elementary grade Sandman Lord that completely obeys your orders and has normal intelligence to fight for you. They were all white silver tier elementary grade items. Jojo could not even learn it, so he temporarily placed it in his spatial ring and would learn it in the future. Then, Jojo looked at the Alchemy Pharmacist recruitment book. There was no need to think too much about it. This must be a specialty of the Gnome Alchemy Workshop. Item name, Alchemy Pharmacist recruitment book. Item level, white silver tier elementary grade. Item effect, life profession recruitment book. Throw it into the gate of summoning and you can recruit a white silver tier elementary grade alchemy pharmacist as your subject. Item description, a special item created under the influence of the Gnome Alchemy Workshop. It can immediately add a white silver tier elementary grade alchemist to your Gnome Alchemy Workshop. Jojo read it a few times before he confirmed that he was not mistaken. He would really be able to recruit a white silver tier elementary grade alchemist. It was not an alchemy pharmacist with white silver tier elementary grade potential but only of black iron tier elementary grade. Jojo was a little puzzled. However, it was also quite a surprise. This time Ashburn will have company. Jojo smiled and put it away. Then, he looked at the final loot. The 6 black iron tier Lord Talent crystal fragments. He had 4 black iron tier Lord Talent crystal fragments in his possession, now he had 6 more. After he returned, he would be able to fuse another black iron tier Lord Talent Origin Divine Crystal. Or he could save it up. In the future, he would upgrade his Insight Defection talent to a green bronze tier Lord Talent. Chapter 65. Regional Token. New black iron tier Lord Talent. The remaining Sandmen were like headless flies when they fought without the Sandman Lord. They were wiped out by Nazario, Bai Yi, and the soldiers not long after. Soon, a green bronze tier elementary grade Sandman leader and a green bronze tier intermediate grade Sandman leader came in front of him. Then, under everyone's surprised gazes, they knelt on one knee to Jojo and muttered in some language that Jojo could not understand. Jojo looked at them. He had used Insight Defection here, where he incited a total of 24 Sandmen to become loyal to him. They were the only 2 that survived. He used his mental perception and understood what they meant. We swear loyalty to my lord. Jojo asked the 2 of them to follow the Blazing Sun army and return to the territory. Bai Yi came in front of him. We've explored the interior of the pyramid. This pyramid should be the base of these Sandmen. It's divided into living quarters, noble quarters, resource storage rooms, Lord's area, and so on. We've discovered the territory token tablet in the Lord's area. We've also found a total of 10,000 units of wood, 15,000 units of stone, 6,000 units of fine sand, and 8,000 units of metal in the resource storage room. In addition, we found 584 black iron tier mist cores, 56 green bronze tier mist cores, and 2 white silver tier mist cores. Lastly, we also found a design blueprint for this pyramid. After Bai Yi finished speaking, she took out a thick stack of paper and handed it to Jojo. Jojo raised his eyebrows, took it and realized that there were no text notifications. Then, he flipped through the stack of blueprints again, but there was still no information about them. This looks like a hand-drawn blueprint for a self-built building. This pyramid wasn't built from blueprints. It was built by these sandmen from their memories. Jojo clicked his tongue in awe. No wonder he felt a little strange when he first saw the pyramid. It looked a little too crudely made from the perspective of a blueprint building. He understood now. So it was a self-built building. Then it was fine, actually it was built pretty well. Maybe they're missing their old civilization. Bai Yi said. It's the first time I've seen you so sentimental. Bring me to the territory tablet. Jojo smiled and said. The two of them passed through the battlefield and quickly walked into the pyramid surrounded by soldiers. Jojo's first impression was that it was spacious and cool as soon as he entered the pyramid. Moreover, it was not dark here. There were rows of torches on both sides of the road, illuminating the entire pyramid. Under the illumination of the flames, there were ancient murals representing the Sandman civilization on the walls. A tall Sandman whose face could not be seen clearly would often appear on it, accepting the worship of billions of Sandmen. It was exactly the same as the statue on the Sandman's scepter. Jojo guessed that this should be the Emperor of Sand. This place can actually be used as a barrack after I'm done with the Novice Lord test. Jojo suddenly realized. It was such a huge pyramid. The environment was not bad either. It was not a problem to accommodate about 10,000 soldiers. Coincidentally, there was a shortage of residences in the territory, so he could get some soldiers to live here first. A moment later, the two of them arrived at the Lord's area. The blueprint designated this place to be the Lord's area, but the moment Jojo arrived, he could tell that this place had been modified to mimic the Lord's courtyard. His gaze landed on the territory tablet and on its durability. It was a total of 100,000. Jojo clicked his tongue and asked Bai Yi to shatter the stone tablet. After Bai Yi received the order, she immediately drew her bow. After shooting 10 fire vine arrows at it, this territory token with 100,000 durability shattered with a bang, revealing 2 tokens. One of the tokens emitted a rich bronze luster. It was a territory token. The other token was slightly larger than the territory token and emitted a faint black iron luster. On the front was the word region, and on the back were the words Blazing Sun Desert. Jojo picked up the territory token first. He realized that this was a green bronze tier advanced grade territory token. I can bring it back with me to upgrade my territory. Then, he picked up the other token and looked at it. Treasure name, regional token. Area name, Blazing Sun Desert, changeable. Regional grade, black iron tier. Area, about 523 square kilometers. Treasure description, regional token of the Blazing Sun Desert. The Lord who possesses the region token and fuses it with the territory stone tablet can become the region lord of the Blazing Sun Desert and obtain a regional exclusive treasure chest. I'll fuse it with my territory stone tablet when I return. At that time, I will be able to completely control the entire Blazing Sun Desert. Jojo thought. All the Sandmen had golden corpse water dripped on them and were loaded into the convoy with the loots. Then, they returned to Blazing Sun City with the Blazing Sun Army. Everyone had just returned to Blazing Sun City. Zhao Changshao was instructing everyone to build a wall. Everyone immediately said respectfully when they saw Jojo and the others return. My lord, you won. Zhao Changshao asked with a smile. When the others heard this, their eyes lit up and they looked at him expectantly. This is the first battle of the Blazing Sun army. There's no reason to lose. I'll get someone to set up a public sign in the territory to tell everyone this news. From today onwards, the Blazing Sun Desert belongs to our Blazing Sun City. In addition, I'll get someone to paste a map of the Blazing Sun Desert on the public sign. Therefore, from now on, everyone's range of activity will not be limited to Blazing Sun City. Jojo smiled. Everyone immediately cheered when they heard that. Blazing Sun City might be safe, but anyone would want to go out for a walk after staying here every day for a long time. The Lord was indeed the Lord. He could take down a Scarlet Lord just like that. The subjects looked at Jojo with admiration. Jojo looked at the notifications that their loyalty had increased. He was deep in thought. It seemed that as long as he did more deeds that convinced and revered his subjects, he could probably obtain the peace and prosperity reputation earlier. After that, Jojo first extracted the loot from the Sandman's corpse. The loot extraction was complete. During this battle, other than the Sandman Lord whose loot had already been extracted, they had also eliminated a total of 1,125 Sandman monsters. Among them, there were 652 Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade, 313 Black Iron Tier Intermediate Grade, 121 Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade, 27 Green Bronze Tier Elementary Grade, 9 Green Bronze Tier Intermediate Grade, and 3 Green Bronze Tier Advanced Grade. The loots of higher-level Sandman monsters did not change much. However, the number of its mist cores and sand crystals had increased. Moreover, the grades of both the Sandification Skill Book and the Sand Summoning Skill Book would also increase. Monsters above the Elite Sandman level would drop Summoning Elite Sandman and Summoning Sandman Leader. The specific gains were as follows. They obtained a total of 7,377 Black Iron Tier Mist Cores, 225 Green Bronze Tier Mist Cores, 3,641 kilograms of Black Iron Tier Sand Crystal, 1,125 Sandification, Black Iron Tier and Green Bronze Tier, 965 Sandman Summoning Books, Black Iron Tier Elementary and Intermediate Grade, 121 Sandman Summoning Elite, Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade, 39 Sandman Summoning Books, Green Bronze Tier Elementary, Intermediate, and Advanced Grade. Jojo put away the mist cores. All the sand crystals obtained were handed to Zhao Changshao to build the wall. As for these skill books, Jojo planned to include them in the military merit system so that the soldiers could exchange them for military merits. In the living room of the Lord's courtyard, Jojo looked at the 10 Black Iron Tier Lord Talent crystal fragments in front of him. Should I fuse it? Obtain another Black Iron Tier Lord Talent? Or should I save them up to upgrade the Insight Defection talent in the future? He hesitated. Jojo could not help but fuse. No choice. The Insight Defection had given him a huge surprise. Wouldn't he be making a killing if he could obtain another great Black Iron Tier Lord talent this time? However, his expression immediately became a little complicated when he opened this Lord talent column after he absorbed the newly fused Black Iron Tier Lord talent Origin Divine Crystal. Lord talent, 100% drop rate, Legendary Tier, Gnome Alchemy Workshop, Green Bronze Tier, Monster Ranch, White Silver Tier, Insight Defection, Black Iron Tier, Return to the City, Black Iron Tier. Lord Talent, Return to the City, Black Iron Tier. Return to the city, you can immediately return to your territory, no matter where you are, and recover 50% of your physical state in the next 10 seconds when you chant the designated password for 5 seconds. Lord Talent hint, this talent can only be activated once a day. Jojo, Teleportation Home, right. Chapter 66. Upgrade Building. Cerulean Planet's Announcement. His expression was complicated. Was it useful? Yes, it was indeed very useful, especially if he was in a desperate situation where he could not escape. This Lord Talent could be said to be a life-saving talent. However, with Jojo's current strength and cautious personality, he had almost no use for this Lord Talent unless he was stupid enough to provoke those forces that he could not afford to provoke at all and was trapped by the enemy. Jojo finally gave it a more pertinent evaluation. It was useful. However, it might be used less often. In the future, I should save up the fragments of the Lord Talent crystal and use them to upgrade the other Lord Talents. A specialist is better than a jack of all trades. It was not as good to blindly increase the number of Lord Talents as to pursue the strength of a certain Lord Talent. After that, he set the return passcode for this Lord Talent as, "Return to the city." It was simple and easy to remember. It ensured that he could use it to return to the city as soon as possible when he was in danger. He had actually thought of using B as a password. However, he was worried that he would accidentally say the same word when he spoke to others in the future and then he would suddenly disappear 5 seconds later. That would be funny. Therefore, it was better to use return to the city. He did not try it out because he planned to go to Fish Spring Town after Wu Tu returned today. If anything happened to him in Fish Spring Town, this return to the city talent would give him a guarantee. After that, Jojo walked out of the Lord's courtyard and looked at it, preparing to upgrade it. Do you want to upgrade the Lord's courtyard? 20,000 units of basic materials, 100 green bronze tier mist cores, 1 origin crystal, and the green bronze tier advance grade territory token that he had just obtained instantly disappeared. A golden light suddenly covered the entire Lord's wooden house. The golden light dissipated. The area of the Lord's courtyard expanded again, and the renovation of the house was even more exquisite. Congratulations, your Lord's courtyard has been upgraded to a green bronze tier intermediate grade building. There is an additional bathroom. Your territory has been upgraded to green bronze tier intermediate grade. Territory token durability increased to 50,000/50,000. Your territory has expanded to 10,000 m times 10,000 m times 3,000 m. You have received an upgrade reward, Medical Hall Blueprint, Green Bronze Tier Intermediate Grade. Lord Talent Hint, the upper limit of the enemy Lord's power that you can instigate to defect has been increased to White Platinum Tier Intermediate Grade. Lord Talent Hint, your monster ranches can be upgraded. Bathroom. He immediately ran back into the house and quickly found the bathroom. Even though this bathroom was a little small, there was a toilet, a bathing area, a sink, toilet paper, toothpaste, toothbrush. It had all the necessary facilities and toilet supplies. Jojo was a little touched. He could finally say goodbye to the pit latrine. He walked out of the bathroom reluctantly. As for the newly obtained green bronze tier intermediate grade medical hall blueprint, the other lords might like it very much. However, Jojo had the all-purpose human blueprint, Elder Zhao, so it did not attract his attention at all. After that, he looked at the materials needed to upgrade the Lord's courtyard from green bronze tier intermediate grade to green bronze tier advanced grade. Construction upgrade, 20,000 units of wood, 20,000 units of fine sand, 20,000 units of metal, 20,000 units of stone, 500 green bronze tier mist cores, 3 origin crystals, 2 green bronze tier territory tokens. Jojo looked at the building materials thoughtfully. There was no problem with the basic materials and origin crystals. He could collect 500 green bronze tier mist cores with some time in the monster ranches. The hardest to obtain were these 2 green bronze tier territory tokens. There are no Scarlet Lords or Lords of all races in the Blazing Sun Desert whom I can obtain territory tokens from now. I have to think of a way to obtain green bronze tier territory tokens from other areas. Jojo thought. He did not think too much about it for the time being and went to the gate of summoning to upgrade it. He consumed another 8,000 units of basic materials and 50 green bronze tier mist cores. Congratulations, your gate of summoning has been upgraded to a green bronze tier intermediate grade building. You can summon +5 subjects every day. You will definitely summon 4 professionals every day. Prompt: under the influence of the unique title of the race, Glory of the Pioneer you can summon 54 subjects a day. You will definitely summon 6 professionals every day. Only 5 more this time. Didn't I increase it by 10 people the last time I advanced from Black Iron tier advanced grade to Green Bronze tier elementary grade? Jojo was stunned when he saw the notification. Could it be that it directly increased the summoning limit of 10 subjects because it was a large level advancement? There were only 5 more people this time because it was a small level advancement. Jojo took a guess. Then, he looked at the upgrade requirements for the Gate of Summoning. Construction upgrade: 5,000 units of wood, 5,000 units of fine sand, 5,000 units of metal, 5,000 units of stone, 100 green bronze tier mist cores, territory level upgraded to green bronze tier advanced grade. It's easy to upgrade the Gate of Summoning. I don't have to worry about upgrading materials at all. After that, he returned to the Lord's courtyard and took out the Black Iron tier regional token. Jojo looked at this regional token twice and placed it on his territory stone tablet. A suction force suddenly came from the territory stone tablet and sucked this regional token in. Jojo looked at the scene in surprise. Rows of golden text appeared in front of him. It also appeared in front of all the Cerulean planet lords. Congratulations on obtaining a Black Iron tier regional token, Blazing Sun Desert, and officially becoming the regional lord of this area. The regional territory column has been unlocked in your lord's personal information. You can check the information about the regional territory you own here. You have obtained a regional treasure chest. Exclusive to the Blazing Sun Desert. Cerulean Planet World Channel announcement: congratulations to the Lord of the Blazing Sun, becoming the first regional lord and to officially own a regional territory. Reward: Supreme Treasure Chest +1, Reputation Rating +1. Jojo looked at the golden text notification in front of him. He had already guessed that he might receive another announcement from the Cerulean Planet's entire channel after obtaining the first regional territory, but he could not help but feel a little excited now that he saw it with his own eyes. The last reputation rating talent hasn't come yet, but the next reputation rating talent is on the way. Jojo could not help but smile. He opened the Cerulean Planet Lord World channel and glanced at it. Indeed, the lords were discussing him fervently. Ridiculous, this is the 4th time, right? There's still only Big Boss Blazing Sun on the reputation ranking. Is this the loneliness of an expert? One step ahead, many steps ahead. I didn't know much about it in the past, but I suddenly understand now. Is Big Boss Blazing Sun really not going to live stream the opening? I'm so curious. Do you think Big Boss Blazing Sun is diving and peeping now? I think he might be opening the box now. There are trillions of lords on the entire high continent, and I'm the only lord of the Blazing Sun. Thunder a face. Simply too brilliant. Girl, is there no one you care about on the road to supremacy? Aren't you guys a bunch of fools? The Lord of the Blazing Sun is now the only one among us. When he becomes completely invincible in the future and comes to your territory, let's see if you'll still be happy to welcome him. I remember that Lord Mighty revealed that the Lord of the Blazing Sun's territory is near the Aurora Kingdom, right? Lords of the Aurora Kingdom, don't blame me for not reminding you. Either join forces and think of ways to deal with the Lord of the Blazing Sun, or prepare to end up like Lord Mighty. Tisk tisk, there are so many lords watching the show. Be careful that the Lord of the Blazing Sun will record you in his notebook. Some lords have already been blacklisted by the Lord of the Blazing Sun. Now, they can't even buy Big Boss Blazing Sun's goods. You people who stir up trouble, Be careful not to attract trouble. As soon as this was mentioned, the lords who were stirring up trouble immediately became much quieter. They still wanted to buy the goods of the Lord of the Blazing Sunday. To be honest, even though the goods sold by the Lord of the Blazing Sun were a little expensive, he was at least honest and did not sell fake goods. This was also the reason why many lords would rather endure the cost and still buy the goods. Unlike some lords, who sold rotten monster meat to pass off as fresh monster meat and second-hand equipment as new equipment in order to make a fortune in the exchange. Many naive lords had been scammed. Comparing the two, the face of this profiteer, the Lord of the Blazing Sun, seemed a little friendly instead. However, what they did not know was that Jojo, who was peeping at the screen, had already silently blacklisted them. You want to buy my goods to increase your strength while bad-mouthing me on the World Channel? Over my dead body. Chapter 67. Regional Treasure Chest. Void Mask. On a plain, in front of the wyvern's nest. Suzanne looked down at a rough map on the table after reading the discussion on the World Channel. More than 30 human subjects were working on a building behind her. Not far in front of her, 2 wyverns, the spine-bone earth dragons, were playing. There was also a flying bone-winged dragon in the sky. The loud bangs caused by the 3 huge creatures made the human subjects look back at them nervously from time to time. He actually took down a complete regional territory. I have to hurry too. Fortunately, my wyvern nest has also leveled up. I can summon 1 wyvern every 2 days now. I should be able to challenge that regional Scarlet Lord as long as I have 5 wyverns under my command. When the time comes, I can also become a regional lord. Suzanne pondered. While she felt that she could not catch up when she saw the 4th Lord announcement regarding the Lord of the Blazing Sun, but, the upgrade of the wyvern nest also gave her hope of surpassing him again. In her heart, she would have an army of thousands of wyverns in the future as long as her wyvern nest fully matured. So what if the human soldiers under the Lord of the Blazing Sun were stronger? He would still lose to her. The potential of human soldiers was too low after all. How could they compare to wyverns with dragon bloodline? In a desolate forest, accompanied by the scream of a monster, a green bronze tier advance grade 1 horned blood python was smashed to the ground and turned into a pile of meat paste. So weak, said a disdainful voice. The instigator sat on a rock at the side as he threw the severed tail into his mouth. He did not care about the smell of blood at all and ate the flesh. He was more than 3 meters tall and his muscles were bulging. His upper body was bare, and the skin of a certain monster was wrapped around his waist. If ordinary people were near him, they would immediately sense that he emitted a sense of danger and a faint sense of life-level suppression. At this moment, not far away, 2 subjects ran over. They placed the flesh on the ground on a wooden plate and handed it to their lord respectfully and fawningly. All hail the Overlord. A mere green bronze tier advance grade fog monster is not even qualified to injure you, Overlord. The 2 of them flattered. It's just a green bronze tier advance grade fog monster. There's nothing much to brag about. If not for the fact that there are too many monster subjects around the regional Scarlet Lord, I will be able to pull him out and beat him up. Xiang Swiba said calmly. When outsiders heard his name for the first time, they might smile knowingly, thinking that his family might want him to be a top student. But that was not what he thought. He felt that his name was a hint that they wanted to learn from the Overlord, Xiang Yu. That was his idol. Therefore, he did not study much since he was young. He left the house early and fought with the hooligans outside. Gradually, he really made a name for himself. He accepted a group of underlings and self-proclaimed himself as the Overlord. However, he was not satisfied. That was because he wanted to be a true Overlord. Not just some hooligan leader. Later on, the world changed. In the blink of an eye, he came here and became a lord. While he was at a loss, he realized that he had awakened his lord talent. Moreover, it was a rather powerful Lord Talent. Lord Talent, gluttonous demon body, legendary tier. Gluttonous demon body, you have the gluttonous demon body. You can devour and digest the flesh and blood of all living beings in the world. During the process of digesting the flesh and blood, the energy in the flesh and blood will strengthen your physical fitness. There is a low chance of obtaining the bloodline ability of this living being from the flesh and blood. This legendary tier Lord Talent was naturally very powerful. The only drawback was that the probability of obtaining a bloodline ability was a little low. Xiang Swiba did not care about this. Low probability. Then I'll eat more. He fought and ate at the same time after 6 days. Not only had he broken through to his current green bronze tier elementary grade strength, he also had the confidence to fight a white silver tier elementary grade regional Scarlet Lord with his innate ability. He opened the World Channel and saw that the lords were all discussing the Lord of the Blazing Sunday. We'll meet sooner or later. Xiang Swiba tiger eyes were extremely deep. Jojo naturally did not know that a lord with a legendary tier Lord Talent like him was already targeting him. He was now looking at the golden supreme treasure chest and an iron box that emitted a black iron light. This iron box was the regional treasure chest exclusive to the Blazing Sun Desert. Regional treasure chest, exclusive to the Blazing Sun Desert, a treasure chest specially prepared to conquer the territory of the entire Blazing Sun Desert. It contains exclusive treasures for the territory of the Blazing Sun Desert. I'll open the regional treasure chest first. Jojo looked at the 2 treasure chests and quickly made a decision. He had a habit. He always wanted to save good things for the last to enjoy. Then, he opened the regional treasure chest and found a squarish yellow package inside. He picked it up and looked at it. Item name, Blazing Sun Desert Resource Pack. Item level, Black Iron Tier. Item effect, after opening it, you can obtain 50,000 units of stone, 50,000 units of wood, 50,000 units of metal, 50,000 units of fine sand, 10,000 kilograms of black iron tier sand crystal. Item description, Black Iron Tier Area Exclusive Resource Pack. After opening it, you can obtain a large number of basic resources and some area exclusive resources. When Jojo saw the reward, he felt a little disappointed. The rewards of this regional treasure chest were indeed inferior to the rewards of the Supreme Treasure Chest. But 10,000 kilograms of black iron tier sand crystal is not bad. He nodded slightly. Zhao Changshao and the others needed sand crystals now that they were building the wall. Originally, he was a little worried that there would not be enough sand crystals and wanted Zhao Changshao to replace it with an ordinary wall. However, there should be no problem with these sand crystals. He was not disappointed. He then opened the Supreme Treasure Chest. A black mask was quietly placed in the treasure chest. This black mask was completely without any decorations on the surface, leaving only the position of its eyes. It looked extremely ordinary. A mask. He picked it up and looked at it carefully. Treasure name, Void Mask. Treasure grade, Special. Treasure effect 1, unable to be observed. When a living being tries to understand your private information through some observation method without your permission, including but not limited to detection, perception, divination, life spying, deduction, and so on, the other party will not be able to receive any feedback. Treasure effect 2, Fateless 1. When an external life form tries to curse you with a fate ability such as instant death, you can be immune to the damage caused by this ability. Jojo looked at the mask in his hand in surprise. This mask is pretty good. With this mask, he would not have to worry about the details of his ability being leaked by the enemy before the battles began in the future. As for its treasure effect 2, it could also allow him not to worry about suddenly dying one day when facing an opponent with an instant death fate ability. I can wear it when I go to Fish Springtown. Jojo thought. Then, he placed the mask gently on his face. He felt his face turn cold. When he touched his face again, he realized that the void mask had already disappeared. He immediately went to the bathroom and looked at himself in the mirror. He saw himself in the mirror, handsome and elegant. There was no sign of a mask at all. However, Jojo could indeed clearly sense that there was a mask on his face and he could remove it at any time. Amazing. There's an old man standing outside the protective barrier, saying that he wants to join the territory. The other party doesn't look like an ordinary person, so I specially came to report. Bai Yi's voice came from outside. When Jojo heard these familiar words, he immediately reacted. The talent attracted by reputation rating was here. He rushed out without even taking off his mask. Chapter 68. Prime Minister of Aurora. Potential Advancement Potion. Just as Jojo was putting on the void mask, astrologer Meowlt, who was divining the situation far away in the territory of Nadia's successor in the Elven Empire, suddenly looked surprised. What happened? Why can't even the stars emit light to illuminate the fate of that human lord? Even death shouldn't result in such a divination. It seems like he disappeared into thin air. Astrologer Meowlt looked at the dim illusion of the stars in front of her. Her beautiful elf face was changing. She was in disbelief. She was only a step away from becoming a god-tier astrologer as a legendary tier advance astrologer. Her status was above everyone, with the exception of the Empress, even in a top empire like the Elven Empire. A person like her actually couldn't divine the fate of a human lord who had just arrived in the High Continent less than 6 days ago. Who would believe this? She was silent for a moment before divining again. This time, she wanted to divine if the successor of Nadia was still a subject under the Lord of all races. As long as she could obtain this answer, she could also determine if the human lord was dead or alive. She stared at the illusion of the stars in front of her with a pale face. The stars were still dim. Every star lost its light and hung weakly in her divination illusion like a meteorite that had lost its energy. This scene was like the end of the stars. I can't even find the fate of that successor. Is it because of that lord? I won't be able to obtain it by direct or indirect means as long as I want to divine any information about him. Could it be that that lord has already sensed that our Elven Empire is investigating his situation? So now he's warning us. Astrologer Meowlt fell silent at the thought. She stood up and left her residence with a solemn expression, walking towards the Elven Empress's imperial palace. Outside the protective barrier, Jojo looked at the old man in front of him. His beard and hair were all white, and his face was kind. There was a warm smile on his lips. He was wearing a platinum robe, and he looked extraordinary. At this moment, he was also peering at Jojo. Decrepit Zhenyuankai greets, my lord. Zhenyuankai smiled. I heard from my subordinate that you want to join my territory. Exactly. This decrepit has long heard of the Lord's great achievements in the Aurora Kingdom. You have already cleaned up the forces of the Scarlet Lord in your area in less than 6 days since you arrived in the High Continent. Compared to other human lords, some of whom can't even protect themselves. There were even those who had no choice but to give up their status as lords and enter the Aurora Kingdom to become ordinary adventurers. In comparison, your lordship's performance is naturally quite outstanding. I just retired not long ago. Some of my work experience is still useful, so I wanted to join my lord. Firstly, I can unleash my remaining strength. Secondly, I want to find a place to retire. I wonder if my lord is willing to let me stay. Zhenyuankai smiled. Zhenyuankai requests to join your territory and become your subject. Do you agree? Jojo felt that it was familiar when he heard this. Oh. I remember now. Elder Zhao also said that he wanted to find a suitable place to retire when he arrived. How did my blazing sun city become a center for senior cotters? Jojo complained in his heart. As for the matter of the human lords joining the Aurora Kingdom, even though he was a little surprised, he felt that it was reasonable. Not everyone was like him, who had a certain chance of passing the novice lord test. What he didn't notice was that at this moment, Bai Yi, who was beside him, suddenly became surprised and doubtful when she heard Zheng Yuankai's name. "Elder Zheng, you're too kind. Welcome to Blazing Sun City." Jojo agreed immediately. "Are you Prime Minister Zheng?" Bai Yi could not help but ask. "You know me, young lady." Zheng Yuankai smiled. "One of the 3 prime ministers of the Aurora Kingdom. You assisted the Aurora King in handling almost all the political matters in the Aurora Kingdom. Who doesn't know of your existence?" Bai Yi held back her excitement. "It's all in the past. This decrepit is now retired." Zheng Yuankai chuckled. Bai Yi nodded and turned towards Jojo to introduce this prime minister. She said that Zheng Yuankai had a good reputation in the Aurora Kingdom and that the Aurora King had always relied on this old prime minister. Jojo listened attentively. He was also a little surprised. He did not expect this talent attracted by his reputation rating to be one of the former prime ministers of the Aurora Kingdom. As the two of them spoke, Zheng Yuankai also looked at Bai Yi. The more he looked at her, the more he felt that something was wrong. "You're a hero." He suddenly hesitated. "Then," she nodded. Zheng Yuankai was immediately stunned. A hero had actually appeared in a territory that had only been established for less than 6 days. He fell silent. He began to wonder why the Aurora Kingdom had only given birth to 3 heroes after hundreds of years. Then, after he came back to his senses, he immediately cupped his fists and said politely, "This decrepit was rude just now." When Bai Yi saw that the former big shot was being so polite to her, she immediately felt a little uneasy. She looked at Jojo. She realized that Jojo was looking at the air in front of Zheng Yuankai. Subject: Zheng Yuankai. Strength level: White Silver Tier Advanced Grade. Ability overview: one of the former prime ministers of the Aurora Kingdom, trusted by the Aurora King. He joined the army when he was young. After he retired from the army, he started as a local official and gradually reached the position of prime minister. Skills: Diamond Tier Advanced Grade Administrative Management, Diamond Tier Advanced Grade Financial Management, Diamond Tier Advanced Grade Military and Political Management, Diamond Tier Advanced Grade Philosophical Theory, Diamond Tier Advanced Grade Ability to distinguish loyalists from traitors, Diamond Tier Advanced Grade Ability to appease the hearts of the people, Diamond Tier Advanced Grade Bounding people by common hatred for the enemy, Diamond Tier Advanced Grade Boosting morale, Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade Speech Giving Skills, Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade Advisory, Diamond Tier Elementary Grade Overall Planning, Diamond Tier Elementary Grade Excitation, Diamond Tier Elementary Grade Debate, White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade Political Wrestling, White Platinum Tier Intermediate Grade Political Persuasion, Physics. Loyalty, 89. Potential, Extraordinary Tier Advanced Grade. Jojo looked at the series of Diamond Tier skills and was dumbfounded. He opened the ellipsis at the back. It expanded to more than 200 skills. Other than 4 or 5 cavalry profession skills, the rest were all skills to manage local and national matters. Ridiculous. So this is a prime minister. I'm in love. Jojo could not help but look at Zheng Yuankai. After thinking for a moment, he solemnly held the other party's hands. "Elder Zheng, I want you to be the Vice-City Lord of Blazing Sun City. From now on, please help me deal with all the matters in Blazing Sun City. I wonder if Elder Zheng is willing." 89 loyalty points was not considered low. American Samoa, a talent attracted by reputation rating. In addition, his ability was so outstanding. Therefore, Jojo was very at ease to hand this important responsibility to him. This subordinate accepts this order. When Zheng Yuankai heard this, bowed calmly as though he was already mentally prepared. Elder Zheng doesn't seem surprised at all. Jojo looked at him in surprise. I still have a certain level of understanding of my ability. Zheng Yuankai chuckled. This is the confidence of a talent. He looked at him and could not help but feel comfortable when he thought of his experiences in the past 6 days. In the past 6 days, he had to personally participate in and decide almost everything in the territory. It was not very difficult, however, the accumulation of matters made him very tired as well. Everything would be fine now. With Elder Zheng around, he could finally be a hands-off shopkeeper. After that, he chatted with the other party for a while more before leaving. He came to the gate of summoning, took out the alchemist recruitment book, and threw it into the gate of summoning. Soon, a green-skinned gnome walked out. Peggy Orlina at your service. She bowed slightly. Her voice was gentle, and she was wearing a female green robe. She should be a female gnome. Hello. Then, he opened her interface information. Subject, Peggy Orlina. Life profession, alchemy pharmacist. Profession class, white silver tier elementary grade. Ability overview, a genius alchemy pharmacist from the Gnome Kingdom. She is the daughter of the Gnome Kingdom's Alchemy Association president. She has had her own unique understanding of pharmacology from a young age. Her learning ability is extremely strong, and she aspires to become the strongest alchemy pharmacist in the Gnome Kingdom. Skills, talent, academic genius, talent, apothecary, alchemy potion, potential advancement potion, special, alchemy potion, life potion, white silver tier elementary grade, alchemy potion, energy potion, white silver tier elementary grade. Potential, diamond elementary grade. Potential advancement potion. Jojo's gaze was immediately attracted by this word. Even those two personal talents did not attract his attention much. He immediately opened the specific information of this potion. Potion name, potential advancement potion. Potion grade, black iron tier. Potion effect, after consumption, it can increase the potential of a life form with black iron tier potential by a level, up to the black iron tier advanced grade. Potion description, a bottle of potion that can sublimate life. Chapter 69. Ashburn's advancement. Wu Tu returns. There's actually such a potion. When Jojo saw this potential advancement potion, his heart immediately pounded. He really needed this potion. Most of the soldiers under his command were recruited from the Gate of Summoning through recruitment books. And at least 50% of them only had black iron tier intermediate grade potential. As the recruitment books for soldiers started from black iron tier intermediate grade monsters, the most number of recruitment books he had were the black iron tier intermediate grade recruitment books. Therefore, he had the most black iron tier intermediate grade soldiers under him. If they broke through from black iron tier elementary grade to black iron tier intermediate grade, there would be no more possibility of a breakthrough. In fact, Bai Yi had notified him about this situation before. However, Jojo had no choice in this situation previously, so he could not resolve it. If he could have a large number of potential advancement potions, these soldiers would immediately have the possibility of breaking through again. Do you know where we can obtain a higher level potential advancement potion or formula? Jojo immediately asked. If he had a higher level advancement potion, the problem of the low potential of the human subjects would be resolved. The potential advancement potion is the most difficult to research and obtain among countless potions. There are only black iron tier ones even in the collection of the Gnome Kingdom's Alchemy Association. I don't know where we can find a higher level potential advancement potion or the corresponding formula either. Peggy winced, then apologized. However, he was not too disappointed. His gnome alchemy workshop could allow monsters to drop related alchemy items. Perhaps one day, it would drop the formula for the potential advancement potion. Even though the possibility was relatively small. But what if? Do you have a potential advancement potion on you now? I do. I brought 3 bottles with me when I left for training. Peggy wiped her spatial ring with her right hand, and 3 bottles of potion emitting a faint black iron light appeared in her hand. Then, she handed them to Jojo. Jojo took it and asked Bai Yi to call 3 soldiers with black iron tier intermediate grade potential and strength over. Soon, 3 soldiers came in front of him. They are 3 black iron tier intermediate grade sword shield soldiers. They're usually very brave in battle and are the first batch of sword shield soldiers to advance to the black iron tier intermediate grade. But later on, they were limited by their potential and couldn't break through anymore. Moreover, even though they've accumulated a lot of military merits, they haven't used them much. Bai Yi introduced. The 3 of them were a little embarrassed. I just feel that the Lord is very good to us. We don't have to worry about food and clothes, and our lives are quite satisfied. There's nothing we need for the time being, so I haven't exchanged it. Me too. I want to save up for a wife in the future. The 3 of them said. The Blazing Sun City will not mistreat every soldier who fights bravely. He handed the 3 bottles of potential advancement potion to the 3 of them and told them the effects of the potion. When the 3 of them heard this, they were first stunned, then immediately became excited. Then, Jojo saw the loyalty of the 3 of them increase continuously and quickly break through to more than 90 points. One of them's loyalty directly broke through to 95 points. Jojo suddenly realized that the importance of this potential promotion potion to people with low aptitudes like them was simply immeasurable. It was like a person could only live to be 60 years old. If his medicine increased the other party's lifespan to 70 years old, how could this person not be grateful to the person who gave him the medicine? They used these 3 bottles of potential advancement potion immediately. An energy fluctuation erupted from their bodies. Jojo opened their interface. He realized that their potential had increased from black iron tier intermediate grade to black iron tier advanced grade. Moreover, their strength had already broken through to the black iron tier advanced grade. It should have been accumulating advancement energy when he was at the black iron tier intermediate grade. The advancement energy they accumulated would directly help them break through now that the upper limit of their potential had advanced. Jojo thought to himself. When the 3 of them realized their improvement, they immediately knelt down excitedly. Jojo helped them up. You deserved it? Go back and tell our brothers who also have the black iron tier intermediate grade potential. Soon. The same potential advancement potion will appear in our Blazing Sun Army's military merit exchange list. Get them ready. Yes. The 3 of them said excitedly. Then, they bade farewell to Jojo and immediately left. They wanted to spread this good news to the other soldiers. My lord. The medicinal herbs needed to make the potential advancement potion are actually quite rare. And those herbs live in a rather harsh growing environment. Even though the Gnome Kingdom has mastered the formula for a long time, this potential advancement potion is not popularized either. The promise you just made, I'm afraid Peggy hesitated. She did not expect the Lord that she was loyal to want to popularize it on a large scale as soon as he saw the potential advancement potion. Even though he did the right thing, he had to consider the difficulty too. Don't worry about this. A mysterious smile appeared on Jojo's face. Linger had the divine herb garden. As long as she was given a medicinal herb seed, she could return hundreds or thousands of grown medicinal herbs to him the next day. Medicinal herbs that were rare. It did not exist in front of her. Then, Jojo asked her for the list of medicinal herbs needed to make potential advancement potion, high-level life potions, and energy potions. Then, he brought her to the Gnome Alchemy Workshop. From now on, you'll work here. You'll have another colleague. He's the owner of this Gnome Alchemy Workshop. Ashburn. Come out here to receive guests. As soon as Jojo entered the alchemy workshop, he began to call for Ashburn. Soon, 2 apprentices walked out of the studio. Teacher is developing a black iron tier intermediate grade life potion. He's at a critical moment, an apprentice said awkwardly. They were naturally more loyal to Jojo. However, their teacher was also at the most critical moment. Under such circumstances, they did not know who to choose. Then we'll wait for him to come out. Go help him. Jojo was stunned before saying. The two apprentices heaved a sigh of relief. Then, they bowed respectfully and returned to the studio. Is the boss also a gnome? Is he also an alchemy pharmacist? Peggy asked curiously. He's indeed a gnome, and he should be of the same race as you. But he's not an alchemy pharmacist. He's a black iron tier advanced grade alchemy technician. He is researching the black iron tier intermediate grade life potion because he wanted to use this opportunity to break through to the green bronze tier elementary grade alchemy technician. Jojo explained. Peggy was enlightened. At the same time, she could not help but be curious. As the daughter of the Alchemy Association's president, when she broke through to the professional level, she had obtained higher-level potion formulas from her father. Then, under the guidance of several potion masters, she quickly mastered this potion and completed the professional level breakthrough. In addition, she was extremely talented. That was why she could be promoted to a white-silver tier elementary grade alchemy pharmacist at this age. For example, Ashburn could break through his profession level by exploring advanced knowledge without higher level knowledge. Such behavior was not unheard of in the industry. However, it was relatively rare and the difficulty far exceeded the difficulty of breaking through to the professional level. Nonetheless, the benefits were also very high. People who used this method to break through to the professional level often had a relatively solid foundation. Moreover, it would be easier for them to break through in the future. Moreover, once he received professional guidance, such an unorthodox genius would grow very quickly. Peggy knew that there were a few potion masters who had grown up like this in the association. Thinking of this, she was suddenly curious about Ashburn. Oh yes. I'll give you these potion formulas as a greeting gift. You can learn it, but you don't have to spend your energy making these two potions. Just focus on making life potions, energy potions, and potential advancement potions. I will also send some subjects to be your apprentices or assistants to increase the efficiency of making potions. In addition, if I obtain a new potion formula in the future, I will also give it to you to learn. Jojo handed the antidote formula and the blood cleansing pill formula to Peggy. Since the black-tailed fog scorpion's monster ranch, antidotes and blood-cleansing pills were produced in large quantities every day. Therefore, Jojo gave this potion formula to Peggy as a simple greeting gift. Thank you, my lord. Peggy took it with a delighted expression. Ashburn did not let Jojo and the others wait long. He walked out of the studio in no time. He looked tired, but his eyes were shockingly bright. There was a smile on his lips, and he was holding a bottle of red potion. I've already developed this black iron tier intermediate grade life potion. I'm already a green bronze tier elementary grade alchemy technician. Ashburn said excitedly. Congratulations. Jojo acknowledged. Then, he introduced Peggy beside him. Let me introduce you. This is Peggy Orlina, who just joined Blazing Sun City. She'll also be your colleague in the future. She's a white-silver tier elementary grade alchemy pharmacist. You don't have to make the life potion and energy potion anymore. Just leave them to her. Ashburn. I worked so hard to develop the black iron tier intermediate grade life potion because I wanted to make it for the benefit of the territory. My lord, are you saying you don't need me anymore? He was a little depressed and his gaze fell on Peggy's face for the first time. After a moment of silence, he turned around and returned to the studio. Jojo and Peggy looked at each other blankly. Does the boss not like me? Peggy wondered. Probably not. Jojo was also a little surprised. Ashburn didn't seem like such an ill-mannered gnome. 10 seconds later, the door of the studio suddenly opened. Ashburn Hall had become clean and changed into brand new clothes, bowing elegantly to Peggy Orlina. "Beautiful Lady Peggy. Welcome to the Gnome Alchemy Workshop. Please tell me if you need anything. Ashburn will do his best to fulfill the lady's request as a gentleman. Peggy Orlina, == 00. Jojo." Jojo left the Gnome Alchemy Workshop and returned to the Lord's courtyard. Then, he immediately contacted Linger and asked her to collect the corresponding herbs and nurture them in large quantities, especially the herbs for the potential advancement potion. Linger agreed without hesitation. Not long after, a soldier suddenly sent a message. Wu Tu had just returned with the reconnaissance team and wanted to see the Lord. Jojo immediately asked him to come over. Chapter 70. Overlord of the Fish Spring Town. Set off. Jojo looked at the map Wu Tu had brought back. This was the redrawn map of Fish Spring Town. Most of the map information on it was no different from the original map information. Only a portion of the map information had been slightly modified. In addition, Wu Tu had highlighted the location of Zhang Li's new Wind Tailor shop and the territories of 2 overlords and 3 Scarlet Lords. Jojo looked at new Wind Tailor shop and then at the 5 overlords' territories. A map notification appeared. Vampire Race Overlord Territory Level, Black Iron Tier Advance Grade. Baphomet Race Overlord Territory Level, Black Iron Tier Intermediate Grade. Windhowler the Wild Sand Boss Scarlet Lord Territory Level, Green Bronze Tier Elementary Grade. NSI the Water Demon Scarlet Lord Territory Level, Green Bronze Tier Intermediate Grade. ZI Pow, the Purple Scale Murderfish Scarlet Lord Territory Level, Green Bronze Tier Intermediate Grade. There was also a special note at the end. It described the strength of these overlords and Scarlet Lords, the number of their subjects, and the distribution of their strength. My good lord. This Fish Spring Town is indeed a green bronze tier area. The 3 Scarlet Lords territory levels are all green bronze tier. Because once a Scarlet Lord with a Black Iron level territory is born, Fish Spring Town will send troops to destroy it immediately. Only the Scarlet Lords of these 3 green bronze tier territories have long occupied this place. Their actual strength has already reached white silver tier. Moreover, the monster subjects under them are also quite powerful. The Fish Spring Town military feels that if they attack rashly, their strength might be weakened. At that time, they might be in danger when facing the other Scarlet Lords, so they maintain their current peaceful state. But peace actually just means that there are no major conflicts but there are endless small conflicts. It's not true peace. Wu Tu said. Where did you find out about this? Jojo asked curiously. I actually bought it. Many places in Fish Spring Town have organizations that sell information. In addition, this information is not very precious. Therefore, I used the mist cores and bought it with ease. Wu Tu was a little embarrassed. In the future, when you go out to draw maps, you can also collect local information part-time. Blazing Sun City will be responsible for all the expenses. If you need manpower or other supplies, you can apply for them directly. You don't have to ask me. There's a new Vice City Lord in the territory now. You can call him Elder Zheng and apply to him. Jojo said. Yes, my lord. Wu Tu said excitedly. He had been entrusted with an important task by the Lord again. It felt good to be trusted. He could not let down the Lord's trust. Jojo continued to look at the map. Let's not attack these overlords for the time being. The Novice Lord test is coming. Let's go to Fish Spring Town and collect 10 Aurora Crystals to complete Zhao Changshao's quests and obtain the completed Green Bronze Tier Advance Grade Aurora Tower. Then, he looked at Wu Tuesday. After some thought, he said. Wu Tuesday. I'll give you a new quest now that the map of Fish Spring Town has been drawn. Take your reconnaissance team and draw the regional maps of the desolate Gobi and Thorn Dune around the blazing sun desert. I'll give you 3 days. Can you do it? Leave it to me, my lord. I guarantee that I'll draw all the maps of the 2 Black Iron Tier regions in 2 days. Wu Tu immediately agreed. After that, the two of them chatted for a while more before Jojo let Wu Tu leave. After Wu Tu left, Jojo looked at the map of Fish Spring Town in front of him and suddenly thought of something. He took out the map of the blazing sun desert. The current exploration on the map had changed from 59% to 100%. Jojo, who was slightly obsessive-compulsive, was quite satisfied when he saw this number. Then, he began to think about his next development. I've already occupied the blazing sun desert. Next, it's time to expand. Fish Spring Town has the Aurora Kingdom behind it. We can't afford to offend them for the time being. I can give the 2 Black Iron Tier regions, the desolate Gobi and Thorn Dune, a try. I can directly fight in these 2 Black Iron Tier regions. As long as Wu Tu's map is in order. He put away the map and walked out of the Lord's courtyard. He used the Blazing Sun Desert's exclusive resource pack and obtained 200,000 units of basic resources and 10,000 kilograms of sand crystals. Then, he handed these resources to Zhao Changshao to build the wall. After that, he found Zhen Yuankai and told him that he was about to go to Fish Spring Town. He asked if there was anything he needed to pay attention to. There's nothing to pay attention to. The Aurora Kingdom is quite friendly to the overlords of all races. There's basically no need to worry about any accidents. On the other hand, there are some local forces that can't see the light of day. Your lordship needs to be careful. The members of those forces don't care about the overlord's identity. They will attack without restraint as long as there are benefits. Zhen Yuankai said. Then, he asked the other party how he could obtain the Aurora Crystal. He also told them about his plans to build the Aurora Tower in his territory. So we're going to build the Aurora Tower. That's easy. I'll write a letter to the mayor of Fish Spring Town. Overlord, send someone to deliver the letter to the other party. After the other party sees the letter, they will naturally hand over the Aurora Crystal with both hands. Zhen Yuankai said with a smile. You can do that. The mayor of Fish Spring Town is called Zhang Bon. This kid is my student. He could have been with me as an officer. However, he didn't like the sinister schemes in the palace. In the end, he ran to Fish Spring Town to be a small mayor to resist the invasion of the Taiyan Kingdom. Taiyan Kingdom. Yes, the overlord has just descended not long ago, so you don't know. The Taiyan Kingdom is a scarlet kingdom formed by fog monsters. Its force is not inferior to the Aurora Kingdom. At the same time, it is also the enemy that the Aurora Kingdom has been constantly resisting and conquering for the past few hundred years. The enmity between the two countries runs deep. Furthermore, the Supreme Will and Scarlet Lord are enemies to begin with. Under such circumstances, this grudge will only continue unless a country is exterminated. My lord, you have to be wary of the Taiyan Kingdom when you go. Its territory is not far from here. Not only is it adjacent to the Aurora Kingdom, but in the future, it will definitely collide with its territory when my lord's territory expands. We'll deal with them sooner or later. Then, Zhen Yuankai began to write a letter, while Jojo found Bai Yi and asked her to call 500 elemental archers and 500 sword shield soldiers to follow him to Fish Spring Town later. The 1,000 soldiers were assembled in no time. Jojo looked at them and was very satisfied. With these 1,000 soldiers, the hero Bai Yi, and the pure-blooded Nazario accompanying him, and finally his trump card returned to the city, he shouldn't be in any danger this time, right? As for the remaining soldiers, he left them to Zhao Changshao to build the wall of the territory. Lord, the soldiers have gathered. We are ready to attack Fish Spring Town at any time. After Bai Yi prepared the army, she immediately came to Jojo and reported. I'm not attacking Fish Spring Town. I just want to go to Fish Spring Town to take a look. Jojo was stunned for a moment before explaining. Why did he make such a big scene just to take a look? She felt puzzled and regretful. However, she did not question Jojo's orders. Instead, she planned to execute them silently. At this moment, Zheng Yuankai also walked over with the written letter. When he saw the 1,000 soldiers, Bai Yi, and the dragons flying in the sky, he was stunned. Then, he hesitated and said, "The Aurora Kingdom is powerful and has a certain foundation. It's not wise to attack rashly now. If my lord really has designs on the Aurora Kingdom, we can consider it at length and slowly deploy it. This subordinate is very familiar with the Aurora Kingdom. Just give us 3 years to grow. I guarantee that my lord will be able to take down the Aurora Kingdom with the least losses." Zheng Yuankai patted his chest confidently. Bai Yi. Jojo tried his best to convince Zheng Yuankai that he had only brought his troops over to ensure his own safety. He had no other intentions. Then, he left Blazing Sun City with everyone and Nazario and headed for Fish Spring Town. Chapter 71. Mission completed. New quests. More than an hour later, on the outskirts of Fish Spring Town. Have the soldiers stand guard here for the time being until Baoxiu or you and I return. If they encounter an enemy, you can get the soldiers defend themselves and counterattack. Jojo said. Baoxiu had caught up not long after they set off. She said that she wanted to see her teacher. Jojo felt that it would be beneficial to complete the master-disciple reunion quest with Baoxiu around, so he agreed to let her follow him. Then, she went to pass down the order. Jojo, Bai Yi, and Baoxiu left the soldiers and walked towards Fish Spring Town. As for Nazario, it was currently flying above them. This way, it was not easily discovered by others and could fly down at any time to protect them. A moment later, the three of them arrived at the city gate of Fish Spring Town. It was built entirely of white stones, and the words Fish Spring Town were engraved on the top of the city gate. They had just approached the city gate when a line of text suddenly appeared in front of him. Notification: you have officially come into contact with the local forces of the High Continent. Reward: common language of the High Continent, general knowledge of the High Continent's language, basic knowledge of the High Continent. A large amount of knowledge surged into Jojo's mind. An ordinary person might have fainted. Fortunately, his current mental strength far exceeded that of ordinary people, so he only frowned slightly and received this knowledge. I've mastered the common language of the High Continent. Not bad. Initially, I wanted to communicate with the locals through Bai Yi. Now, there's no need to go through so much trouble. Jojo thought to himself. Then he suddenly thought of something and looked at Bai Yi and the others. Oh yes, I forgot to ask you something. How do you know the Cerulean planet language? Jojo asked doubtfully. When we met the Lord, we were automatically given the ability to communicate with the Lord by the Supreme Will. Bai Yi said. Jojo came to a realization. It seemed that the Supreme Will did not want to stop the communication between the lords of the myriad races and the local factions in terms of language. It directly gave the two sides the ability to communicate freely. Then, the three of them prepared to enter the town. There might be soldiers guarding the city gate, but they only glanced at Jojo and the rest and let them in without saying anything. On the street in the city. As Jojo and the others walked towards the administrative hall, they looked at the pedestrians on the road. Among these pedestrians, naturally humans who looked exactly like them were in the majority. However, there were also many strange-looking races. For example, a race that was 2 to 3 meters tall and had 3 eyes on their heads. There were also kittens with long tails and trembling cat ears. There were even palm-sized flower fairies with transparent wings flying. The various races dazzled Jojo and broadened his horizons. On the other hand, Bai Yi and Baoxiu, who were beside him, looked unsurprised. The three of them came to the door of the administrative hall. After telling the guard at the door that he had a letter from the former Prime Minister, Zheng Yuankai, to give to their mayor, the guard went to report it immediately even though he suspected that Jojo was bragging. The guard returned and led the three of them to a reception room in the administrative hall in a jiffy. A well-dressed middle-aged man was already waiting there. When he saw Jojo and the rest, he immediately stood up. "Hi, I'm the mayor of Fish Spring Town, Jongbone. I heard you have a letter for me from my teacher." Jongbone looked at Jojo and the rest. Jojo looked at Bai Yi. Bai Yi passed the letter to Jongbone. Jongbone was certain that this was definitely the work of his teacher by just glancing at the handwriting on the envelope. "Mayor Zhang, why don't you open it now? Elder Zheng has something to tell you," Jojo said. Jongbone was stunned for a moment before nodding thoughtfully. He opened the envelope, took out the letters inside, and began to read. He finished reading it in no time. Then, Jongbone could not help but look at Jojo in shock. "Are you the Lord of the Blazing Sun who became famous recently? Teacher actually went to work for you." He subconsciously became more polite. This was a fierce person who had taken down a regional territory from nothing in just 6 days. He was not the only one who heard about it. The Lord of the Blazing Sun was quite famous even in the entire Aurora Kingdom. "That's me." Jojo's expression remained the same, but he was a little surprised inwardly. He did not expect his reputation to be so great now. The reputation brought about by the 4 points of reputation rating was not just for show. "I've heard a lot about you. Welcome to Fish Spring Town." Jongbone smiled. "I've wanted to come here for a long time." Jojo smiled. Then, the two of them chatted about some topics. Jojo mainly wanted to ask the Conqueror's blast furnace and how to increase the population of the territory. Jongbone mainly asked about Zheng Yuankai's current situation and was curious about Blazing Sun City's current development. After a long time, the two of them, who had benefited a lot, had already become familiar with each other. After that, Jongbone got someone to send the Aurora crystals over. "Even though I'm the mayor of Fish Spring Town. But Aurora crystals are the kingdom's strategic resources. I can't mobilize much of them. I hope these 50 green bronze tier Aurora crystals can temporarily satisfy the Lord of the Blazing Sun's needs." Jongbone pointed at the tray of 50 white Aurora crystals and apologized. "Enough. That's more than enough." Jojo took them with a smile. He was pleasantly surprised. His goal for this trip was only 10 Aurora crystals. However, he did not expect the mayor of Fish Spring Town to actually give him 50 Aurora crystals generously. This person was good. He could get along with him. A line of text appeared just as he received the 50 green bronze tier Aurora crystals. Notification. Detailed quest, collection of Aurora crystals has been completed. 1 green bronze tier advanced grade completed Aurora Tower and 50 green bronze tier mist cores have been distributed. Zhao Changshao's loyalty has increased to 90 points. He pondered for a moment and suddenly said, "How about I help you guys get rid of your Scarlet Lords during this period of time? Can you do that? None of the Scarlet Lords here are weaker than the regional Scarlet Lords in the Blazing Sun Desert." Jongbone was shocked. "We can give it a try." Jojo smiled. He already had the idea of dealing with the 3 Scarlet Lords. It was the perfect time to return the favor. "Thank you, Lord of the Blazing Sun. I'll definitely seek credit from the kingdom for you after you've successfully dealt with the 3 Scarlet Lords." Jongbone didn't really believe it in his heart, however, since Jojo had already said so, it was not appropriate for him to say anything else. Just as Jongbone finished speaking, a quest interface also appeared in front of Jojo. "The mayor of Fish Spring Town has issued a quest to you. Quest name, eliminate the Scarlet Lords. Quest quality, yellow gold tier elementary grade, normal. Quest content, destroy the Scarlet Lord's forces near Fish Spring Town and bring peace to the town." Mission reward, 300 yellow gold tier mist cores, 200 fish spring town subjects submitting to you, 10 yellow gold tier aurora crystals. Your reputation in the Aurora Kingdom will improve, the Aurora Kingdom's king will have a favorable impression of you, and the authority to trade aurora crystals will be activated. Jojo immediately felt comfortable when he saw the quest. One job that had 3 income streams. This was a huge profit. Chapter 72. Zhongli's request. Heading to the Lord's Market. Jojo and Zhongben chatted for a while more before leaving. Zhongbon looked in the direction where they left and couldn't help but exclaim. A hero. That female attendant is definitely a hero. He's only been in our high continent for 6 days, but he's already developed to this extent. No wonder this Lord of the Blazing Sun could take down a regional territory. Impressive. Teacher, the ministers in the palace all say that you've aged and decayed. You retired because you weren't capable enough to be the prime minister. They're all wrong. You're still as wise as ever. I have to be on good terms with this lord in the future. Zhongbon thought for a moment and turned to leave. After a while, Jojo followed the map and arrived in front of the new wind tailor shop. Teacher. Bao Xiu rushed into the shop excitedly when they reached the entrance of the shop. Jojo and Bai Yi looked at each other and smiled before entering. Jojo saw Bao Xiu hugging a young woman in beautiful clothes as soon as he entered. This young woman was already in her 30s, but she was beautiful, had fair skin, and a voluptuous figure. There seemed to be light in her eyes, and she had the temperament of a virtuous wife. This is my lord. This is Big Sister Bai. My lord, Big Sister Bai, this is my teacher, Zhongli. She's also the current head of New Wind Tailoring Skills. Bao Xiu immediately felt a little embarrassed when she saw her lord, so she introduced him. Greetings, my lord. My disciple has embarrassed herself in front of you, my lord. Zhongli was a little embarrassed. No way, I can see that Bao Xiu and Big Sister Zhang have a good relationship. Jojo smiled. When Zhongli heard this, the smile on her face widened. Then, she invited Jojo and the others to sit in the inner room. Jojo and the rest naturally wouldn't refuse and walked in one after another. They chatted for a while before Jojo brought up the purpose of their visit. Big Sister Zhang, I wonder if you're interested in developing in my territory. My territory has just been built, and I need talents. If you can come, you can definitely show your skills in our territory. And I can make you a promise. As long as you're willing to come to my territory, when there are enough resources in the future, I'm willing to build a white platinum tier elementary grade tailor shop for you in the territory. Your treatment will definitely not lose to the treatment you can have in other places. Jojo was very polite. She was a white platinum tier elementary grade talent after all. He would be a fool to snub her. Yes, teacher. Come to Blazing Sun City with me. The Lord is very powerful, and so is Big Sister Bai Yi. If you join the Lord's territory now, you will definitely not be disappointed in the future. Bao Xiu were persuaded. This you have a white platinum tier architect in your territory. Zhongli looked at her disciple helplessly and asked. A white platinum tier tailor shop. Even she would be tempted. The honorary president of the Construction Association, Zhao Changshao, is living in my territory now. Jojo smiled. Zhongli was stunned. She had heard of Zhao Changshao before. He was a true upper-class figure in the Aurora Kingdom. Even the Aurora King had personally received him. He was a true top-notch expert in the construction industry. He was actually in the territory of this young lord. Zhongli did not believe him at first, but she hesitated when she saw Bao Xiu's sincere gaze. She naturally understood her own disciple. Her gaze told her that the lord in front of her should not be lying. After a moment of silence, Zhongli shook her head. My apologies, my lord. I still can't go. Can you tell me the reason? Are you dissatisfied with my conditions? Or do you think that our territory has just been built, so you're unwilling to settle down there? Jojo pondered for a moment and asked. That's not the case. Please follow me. Zhongli sighed softly. Then, she stood up and walked towards another house. The three of them were stunned. Then, they followed. They came to another room. As soon as the three of them entered the room, they smelled a strong medicinal smell. Then, they saw an old woman with gray hair lying on the bed not far away. This is my teacher, Li Huiyu. She was the one who taught me the new wind tailoring skills, allowing me to have the ability to feed myself. She was also the one who promoted me from a yellow gold tier intermediate grade tailor to the current white platinum tier elementary grade tailor I am now. She's seriously ill. I can't take her to a famous doctor who can cure her now, so I can only give her a peaceful environment to recuperate in Fish Spring Town. And my lord, your territory has just been built. If we go to your territory now, I'm afraid my teacher won't be able to withstand the bumps on the way. That's why I can't go to your territory. My apologies, my lord. Zhongli whispered. Jojo fell silent. He had nothing to say about Zhongli's reason. Was he going to let an old lady risk her life to go to his territory just to complete a quest? Moreover, the novice lord test was in 2 days. At that time, his territory would definitely be even more dangerous. The old lady definitely couldn't stand that kind of environment. Jojo admitted that he was very tempted by the reward for the hidden mission. However, he was not the kind of person who would do things without any bottom line just for the mission reward. Forget it. He did not want the hidden mission reward anymore. After thinking it through, Jojo came to the old lady's side. Is there no cure for this old lady? If you lack a certain herb, I can help. He looked at the old lady's ashen expression and asked. It's not that. She needs a famous doctor. However, my teacher's current situation is quite stable, so there's no need to worry too much for the time being. Zhongli consoled Jojo, seeing how his expression was solemn. She could tell that this lord was genuinely concerned about her teacher and could not help but have a good impression of him. After that, they did not disturb the old lady's rest and walked out of the room with Bai Yi, leaving Bao Xiu'er and Zhongli inside. My lord, what should we do? Bai Yi could not help but ask. She was one of the few who knew why Jojo was here. Nothing. Let her stay here. We can't really let such an old lady take the risk to travel to our territory. The conditions in Fish Spring Town are indeed better than our Blazing Sun City. It's also more suitable for recuperation. Fortunately, this place isn't far from our Blazing Sun City. If Bao Xiu'er misses her teacher in the future, she can come over anytime. This can be considered another form of master-disciple reunion. Jojo said. My lord is merciful. A smile appeared on Bai Yi's face. She had an even better impression of her lord now. Jojo waved his hand. Inside the house. You didn't follow the wrong lord. This lord is at least benevolent. Zhongli smiled at Bao Xiu'er after Jojo and Bai Yi left. That is true. Moreover, our lord isn't just a benevolent lord. He's also very powerful. Bao Xiu'er told Zhongli about Jojo's achievements in the past 6 days. You're saying that this lord is the lord of the Blazing Sun who occupied the Blazing Sun Desert? Zhongli was stunned. That's right. Bao Xiu'er nodded. Then, she looked at her Grandmaster lying on the bed worriedly. I wonder when Grandmaster will recover. She did not notice that her teacher, Zhongli, was deep in thought. Soon, her gaze became determined as she walked out of the room. Jojo, who was thinking about what to do next, suddenly saw Zhongli walk out of the room. My lord. Zhongli said before he could say anything. Can you agree to a request of mine? As long as you are willing to agree, I'm willing to become your subject and serve you. However, I need to stay in Fish Spring Town to take care of my teacher until she recovers. I wonder if you're willing. You're an elder. You don't have to be so polite. Just tell me what you want. Jojo was stunned before saying. I know that you are the Lord of the Blazing Sun who has been very famous recently. Your future is destined to be limitless. If you can meet a famous doctor who can treat my teacher in the future, I'm willing to be your subject wholeheartedly. I can be your temporary subject now. You can ask me to work for you like how you ask normal subjects to work for you. However, I have the right to refuse too. I wonder if my lord is willing to accept it? Zhongli asked. Of course. Don't worry. In the future, if I encounter a famous doctor who can treat your teacher, I will definitely ask him or her to help treat her. Jojo agreed without hesitation. A smile appeared on Zhongli's face. Subject Zhongli greets my lord. She bowed slightly. Welcome to Blazing Sun City. A quest's notification appeared. Notification. Mission quest, Master-Disciple reunion completed. 100 white platinum tier mist cores have been distributed. Bao Xiuer's loyalty has increased to dead loyal. White platinum tier elementary grade Taylor Zhongli has temporarily become your subject. Prompt, after Zhongli's teacher, Li Huo, recovers, Zhongli will officially become your subject. Things might be different from what he had imagined, but the quest was finally completed. A moment later, Jojo and Baiyi left the new Wind Tailor shop. Bao Xiuer stayed in the shop for the time being to accompany her teacher until Jojo and the others were about to return to the territory. On the street, Jojo and Baiyi walked one after another. My lord, where are we going? Baiyi asked curiously. To the Lord's Market. Jojo said. The Lord's Market. It was the place where Zhongbone told him that he could buy what he wanted. Part 4 of the series ends here. If you enjoyed it, please give us a like and subscribe so we can be motivated to make even better videos in the future.